Hey, we are back. It is the Wandering Isles, and we're wandering. I'm joined. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm joined here in Sleep Delirium. Richard playing Slate, Ryan playing Amidriana, Rory playing Eos, and Busy playing Hatsu. Mr. Kian injured himself. He was saving children from a burning building, trying to be Superman, and he just carried one too many on his back. Yeah, our hero will be back up and running soon.
That's full on lies. He
Yeah,
tried to pick up a Twinkie and fucking twisted the wrong way.
It's a sports injury. It's a sports injury. But we like our story better, so it's we'll say whatever we want. This is fantasy. Let's jump straight into it. We got a lot to cover today, hopefully. So, Richard, I think with the recap, take it away.
So when last we left off, we had left the Arcanum looking for a lycanthropy cure. We were sent by Remington to find a secret village of werewolves and retrieve it. It was a long and perilous journey. Treacherous lands, rocks, forest, ice, exploding fire creatures, dead bodies, and a huge industrial fishing compound city. And then after that, that's when we found them. Wolver, their leader, invited us in to their inner sanctum. We feasted, we hunted with them, and while we were there, we encountered a black, smoky ooze creature that could transform and change its form. After defeating it, we examined it, and some of its ooze merged with Slate, giving him some strange and mysterious new powers. The lycanthropy potion retrieved, we were heading to meet Shant's Artifice to make the handover and complete the quest in the nearby Dagthorpe. That's where we pick up and rejoin our adventure.
We have a challenge for tonight. The first one who makes a successful knee pun about Dash gets inspiration. It has to be good. It can be good quality. Don't just give me knee dash. But Mr. Kian hurt his knee, and I think it would be in his honor to put a bounty out on the first successful dash pun tonight. And I want a knee pun. We're going in. Yeah, so you guys have what is the end of your time here at Heartwell. You're still owed a Moonbane Elixir. That has not been forgotten. We're going to pick up from here. You guys can decide how you want to go, where you want to go. The offer is there if you want to be accompanied or not by some of Wolfer's pack. So tell me, what do you guys want to do?
Was this the place we established there was a bladesmith, or was that in the other place?
It was Broadadir, yeah. There was people in Broadadir. There are people here technically too, but nothing that would be of superior quality to anything you have. They aren't people who really rely on weapons.
No, actually that's true. Okay. So I would understand I'd probably be better off waiting for Broadadir, would I?
Broadadir, if you're going through Broadadir, yes. If you're going around it, then possibly in Dagthorpe. It depends on... it depends on kind of the trajectory and route. But I would say as a party, you guys should discuss that. That would be a factor to include. Yeah. It would obviously be quicker to just bypass Broadadir completely and go straight to Dagthorpe. That would take like a time off. But also there is also... Like you can stop in Heartwell and have a little bit of respite as well before carrying on and going into the fray. Like, so it's up to you which way you guys approach it. But definitely as a party, you should do this.
Okay. So what are the plans tomorrow? I know we're going to grab this elixir and deliver it to this man that's going to take it to Remington for us, but what is it exactly, Hatsu, that you've proposed to this person that you want to help?
You mean Ola? We promised that we come back to find a solution so she doesn't have to call in the crisis response unit. I feared that these people might interfere with some of the investigations that we were about to go through.
So you want to help so that the CRU isn't called in?
Yeah. I was worried that these people here would get relocated like a kneecap.
Keep trying. Keep trying.
Well, I'm willing to help. Is that the plan then for everyone?
Well, Rem said Ducky's been taken care of, so yeah, let's do it. Let's go see Orla. Let's finish this job. Let's put our knee back in place.
Does he mean taking care of, like, emotionally, or taking care of, like... No, we should just go.
I did have an idea, by the way, Eos, because I know how you miss Ducky. Something that I don't know if it's possible, you probably know more about it than I would, but it felt to me quite an obvious thing that if we're able to communicate with each other across vast distances with these stones and things, surely there'd be some sort of magical way for you to put something on Ducky so maybe you can communicate heartbeats or something across vast distances.
Oh, I'll have to look into it when we get back, but yes, absolutely, Major. Thank you.
I just imagine like an armor on Ducky, and in the chest plate is a thing that registers their heartbeat and something you can listen into when you feel lonely or without her. Anyway, just an idea.
Ooh. Eos just kind of like ponders for a while.
Before we leave, we should check in with Wolver, because when we arrived, he sent scouts back to the mountain where we reported the fire creature, the altar, etc. That might have some bearing on our route and what we want to do on our way.
You guys have been effectively here for a day. They wouldn't have even got to their destination yet. You would know that as well. Just in case, because over the context, we've been playing for quite a few sessions here. But contextually speaking, you guys went on the hunt on the first night, did the feast on the first night, and now it's like the second day that you're
here. As you were the ones that were dealing with this and I wasn't here, I shall follow your lead.
Oh, we definitely should skip Brother-Deer. They're not very friendly there.
Also, time is
Was
of
a
the
hustle
essence.
to enter. And I don't know if Dash can pull it up again. I trust Slate, but it was difficult.
So skip Rotterdam and straight on to Dagthor. Is the sled loaded and ready to go?
Sled is still outside town, technically.
Never really unpacked it, so more or less just our small belongings we have with us for the evening, and that's it. Shouldn't be long
packed up
before we
that
can hit the
slart.
road.
Yeah.
I also should pick up Remington's staff, I guess.
If you are going by Slart, as the crow flies, it's about 2 days. So if you're not veering off and going into Brother-Deer, because if it's a straight run to Dagtorp, but it would be sort of a bend into Brother-Deer, it's pretty much a 2-day journey.
Right. Rise early. Grab the elixir and go.
Hell yeah.
I don't know about the rest, but Magiana will take her evening's rest. This time choosing to sit up on the rooftop of this mead hall.
Mead hall. A whole week I've spent. Last week I was like, Ryan gave me a really good word just before you joined. I was like, Ryan gave me a really good word for this place, and I can't remember what it is. And only now, as you say mead hall, I'm like, that's what it is. Yes.
Well, hello,
mead hall.
baby. Yeah, so she'll sit up on top of there. She'll kind of lay under the moon and starlight with the fresh air on her wings and stuff. And because this will be the last time she'll get to stretch them out for potentially a while.
Yeah, enjoy it while you can. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those places, much like the Arcanum, where you're, safe. But that is also why this place is so protected. So.
Yeah.
It's a quiet night outside. You see them running off and doing their hunt. They're doing just more of a patrol than anything else. And as they do their run, you're kind of able to track it, Adriana, while you're sitting on the rooftop and watching them. It's a cool thing to watch and to see. Very powerful to witness. It's more of a patrol than a hunt, I suppose. Patrol be a better word. They're not actually getting food or anything. They still have food. It's more that they're out just making sure that everything is clear, everything's safe, and just investigating things.
Mm-hmm.
Following the conversation at the end of last week's session, Dash and Lissa spent some more time talking about that. And kind of going back and forth, and over the course of the next session, or potentially sessions, while Dash is handling this, we will see what would be best suited for Dash, because Keena's obviously, we don't know his return status, so we'll see how he's doing and stuff and follow up, but for the moment he's still with the party and still present. He's just in his own little bubble doing his own little thing. Ayami's still with Hatsu, of course, and everything as well, but NPC wise, Lissa will be with Dash, so if you need anything from either of them, they're flitting about somewhere.
Okay, so this is attending to his needs.
Just take it. Fine. Just take it. Fine. As you can have it as well. We're both fine. Yeah. So just for the moment, because we're sort of open-ended with Kian and his health, I just want to, we'll take care of that. Is there anything anyone wants to do during the night, or we just do a quick sunset sunrise?
Yeah, we go for sunset sunrise. Eos would be setting herself up with a couple of pillows near what I assume would be like a brazier inside of the meat hall.
Fraser,
thank you. She's got her backpack.
Brazier is a very different thing.
I don't know. Words are words. It's not my
There
first
might be
language.
a few of us going up to those.
But yeah, backpack on her tummy. She's chilling out. She's just kind of in her trance.
Yeah.
She's ready to go.
We pan over Hartwell. We see the moon exactly where it is for the entire time. And that's it, because there is no sunrise or sunset here. But a few hours pass. First of all, who... so Wolver's going to send someone with the elixir to one of you. Who wants to be the holder of such an item?
Yeah, I'll
Catch
you
it.
Sure. I saw Hatsu's hand shoot up, so I will...
He would put it in the bag of holding.
I've put it on your
to-
inventory, so you can put it in anywhere you want in
Yeah.
your inventory. Yeah, so he'd put it in his, what do we call it, the void satchel? Yeah. Yeah, so that transition is done, or our transaction is done. It's basically a 2-day journey. Is there anything else that any of you want to deal with in that time?
Not really. Eos would be kind of going over the book she was reading on the way over again. She's very interested about it. She now understands a better connection thanks to Wolver's information about her species. So she's more reading between the lines of the words and trying to get a better understanding for what she is through this fantasy novel.
Sure, absolutely. Your cart is brought up to you by one of the patrol groups, so that you guys can just board, and they will lead you out, showing you the path that you can take.
May I ask for something? When we arrived, I left a staff at a tree with a note. Did you pick it up, or is it still there? He's asking one of the wolves that will bring their stuff and shit.
They kind of gesture back, they nod backwards, and as you look over on the side of the cart is actually the staff sort of just sitting there for you. It's on one of the sides of the sled cart.
He bows down like a little bit. Tomarigatou gozaimashita. And he will pick the staff and also shove it back into the... He calls it the Remy bag.
Absolutely. Yeah, no worries. Everything's loaded for you. I think you guys have rations already, so you don't need anything really, do you, from here? Is there any last minute things?
I think I'm good.
For Slate, based on the turn of events, it's been an awful lot, and there was a huge physical and mental toll on that absorption of that ooze and what it did to him. So for him, then we went to the hall, then we had the feast, and then, you know, I was going to say he was working like a dog, but maybe in present company I won't say that. He worked so hard, so then after that night's rest, he's rested, but not. So it would just be taking it easy and like somebody recovering from an ailment, just trying to get over all of the change and shock to his system. So quiet enough.
Yeah, Slate definitely went through it. It's been a difficult day, and it was probably a hard night's sleep for Slate as well. No exhaustion point or anything like that, just narratively speaking, quite difficult. As you go through the sort of forest of Hartwell, the moonlight begins to turn into daylight until a point where you actually reach the threshold of the forest, and not only is the sun shining strong, it's cutting through what appears to be strong winds and snow. The weather here is, and the climate almost, is entirely different to Hartwell. Whilst Hartwell is cold, it doesn't feel as cold as this. While it is snowy, it doesn't feel as snowy as this. There is some sort of protection that you have passed through that threshold, and it is now windy, snowy.
Before we part ways with our escort that's leading us to the edge of their territory, and obviously there was the sort of offer of maybe if we wanted some further support, I'd like to stop and ask them, showing them the map that we have and the route that we took to get here. If they're local, is there actually another way that would shave some time, or, you know, anything that would make life easier, or a road less treacherous or otherwise, because they know they're local and we're not. Yeah. So we took the tourist way to get here, you know, the scenic route. So just in case there's anything like that, it's worth asking. So I just want to check with them, is this the best route going forward? And obviously, for me anyway, I'd be asking them if they could travel with us as far as they could, even if everyone else is okay with it, up until the delivery. But that's just my vote.
If you're heading there, the advice that they give you, just at the start of this, the advice that they give you is that if you come to the point of Broaderdeer, north of Broaderdeer is Gottenhammer, which is a very pointy mountain that exists there. They said avoid it. Avoid Broaderdeer, avoid Gottenhammer, and try and slice between the two. When you're going through, you should get to Dagtorp pretty swiftly. It will take you like the better part of between a day and a half and 2 days, depending on what elements you encounter and how often you stop and that kind of thing. But it is relatively quick. They can accompany you if you wish. The two people that are with you at the moment are Rowan, who you met earlier, and Eldrick, who you definitely know very well. So they are happy to accompany you. They have been instructed to do so at your request. How much you want that is probably up to the party, and I would let you guys decide that.
Yeah, I'm going to turn that to the group and say, show them the map and explain what they explained to me about the mountain range and Broaderdeer, and there's a, you know, kind of a quicker, marginally quicker route, and that they've offered to take us most of the way in support if we wish, and sort of just ask, how does everybody feel about this?
Well, the quicker we're there, the quicker we can deal with what we've got to do and head away, so I don't see the harm. As long as it's safe for them as well.
They're quite good with sniffing out potential.
So just living on the pun train today.
I guess local knowledge would help, and yeah, the quicker we're there, the less of a journey it is for all of us.
Cool. They are happy to accompany you. Slate, you feel a sudden movement beside you as one of them firmly sits next to you. Nice cozy trip ahead of you. Rowan also jumps on, but they hold on to the side of the slart rather than sitting inside for a while. They like the air, they like the wind, they like the cold. It's fine for them. The cat that usually accompanies Rowan is there too, but sitting comfortably on the base end of under like the slart where your feet kind of go and stuff. Underneath one of the chairs there would be the cat. With that, the horses take off, and on your journey you go. With their accompanying help, it will be a day and a half rather than 2. But we'll still make sure that you get there safely. There will be some rolls. I'll be calling on you as we go through this journey. For the moment the floor is open. What do you guys want to do?
Eos will just be staring at the cat.
To eat it, or?
Oh. Different character. Just curious. Like when the cat twitches its ear, and they often do, if like a piece of dust gets too near it, she'll try and mimic the action with her ears.
No problem. And the rest of you?
Are you okay, Eos?
One of our neighbors had a cat back home, but anytime I would try to approach it and go pss, 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 it would just run away. It was a foxy cat. Very strange. This one's very calm.
Yeah, I've heard they have different personalities.
How about you? What did you think about the land of the wolf people?
I'd love to see a day where it's the land of all people, I think they're good people.
Seemed to be so nice to see a structured community is all working together. Very impressive.
Agreed. Reminds me of home a lot. Do you still wanna live on a star?
He always just looks at this up to the sky with the stars. Maybe the moon first, then I can think about the stars. One step at a time.
I had the hopes that if you feel a sense of community, you would wish to stay with community instead of being alone.
Yos looks down at her hands near her knees. And she looks over to Hatsu and she whispers to Hatsu, "Apparently my people are in Gamgalore. I now know what I am."
He has like a little smirk. He wouldn't necessarily see it, but you would get a glimpse from his eyes that he does.
He uses the message spell for that one.
So you think your people are only people of your kind?
And again, in another message, she replies with, "Where I'm from, below the bookshop, there's a book of names and descriptions. Some like me, but the cause of what happened is still unknown. But I would love, I yearn to meet another like me. I've yet to see one, apart from my father.
So you still have to learn to be a stranger. I get it. But what you don't understand is that there is people and things of your kind without looking like you. Do you know that?
It's true. There are strangers like me.
Well, your people should be the people that stand for the same values as you do, that fight for the same thing as you do. They stand with you instead of running away. They chose to stay with you. That has value. Don't forget that.
With a sigh of relief and a smile on her face, she just lets out, I'm glad to have friends like you guys.
And I'm happy to have a friend that cares more about a badger than a real thread.
Starts muttering to herself how she thinks the badger turned into the slime creature and all this stuff.
I have a question. Over our time at the feast with the Lunarkin, obviously that went on for quite some time and lots of servings and so on. At any point, was there any music on their side or any kind of a beat or a, bashing of fists, mugs, any equivalent of in their own way at any point?
They're cleaning up the dishes. They just reenacted the entire dwarf scene from The Hobbit. No, there was no music or anything encouraged like that. Not as discouraged either necessarily. That was probably poor choice of words, but just nothing there.
Just
that
didn't happen.
Yeah,
Perfect. So what I want to do is I want to take out my regular loot and sitting beside Eldrick.
just tune it for 4 hours straight.
And I want to judging by his, which form is he in? His human form? Or
they're both in human form.
Yeah. So judging by his reactions, and we still know that his hearing is very sensitive, etc. But I want to play different types of music, little different beats, different riffs, different things, tapping the lute, etc. But I want to sing a song that I'm about what we know of the Lunar Kin, talking about what we saw on the walls of the mead hall, which is all the acts of valor and the kinship. And I want to see if I can sort of break the ice facade of Eldrick, and I want to try and keep playing different types of music till I see him like a tapping a foot, or at least just not wincing in pain from the sound, or so I want to try and find something that might be semi-pleasing, and then something that will, like I said, thaw the ice and make the trip, in my mind anyway, be less boring, but also possibly go quicker as a result. And it seems like fun to me, so
I feel like we're gonna get like a ton of like thaw the ice puns. Ice to meet you. Just like pull out the old Schwarzenegger like logbook.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, it plays some music, probably not unsimilar to what is actually playing at the moment. That would be like, it's something that's actually, you know what am I doing? I'm speaking for you when I need a roll first, so I'll get a performance check from you first, then we'll see.
Nat 20 for a 27.
Nat 20, let's go. Perfect, yeah. I have a feeling that
It's almost like you were made for this.
So Richard, you got a nat 20.
For a 27.
For 27. You play this with more phenomenal talent than you've ever really done. Like, you are putting your everything into this. Like, you're shredding this. You're Steve Vai of the loot. You are just going absolutely ham on this thing. And you're absolutely crushing it. Yeah. So, I mean, how do you want to do the performance? Are you like full on Hendrixing it? You put the loop behind your head, or are you just like humble, like doing your best?
I think somewhere between, so less showmanship, but more enthusiastic than just sitting playing.
Right.
Because the whole point of the display previously with Eldrick was he was skeptical of anyone that isn't of their kind, and laid open that he personally felt that anyone who wasn't them was inferior.
Right.
So I was told if I was to look like a werewolf, I wouldn't be one, and it'd be like a child, and blah 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 blah. So I just showed him that don't judge a book by its cover. But I still contributed to the pack, did what I was told, and continued. And then we fought the monster, helped protect the area. Then we've gone back, we helped fed everybody. And now we're talking about their honor, their acts of valor, their kinship, the things that I know speak to him and his kind and his core values underneath that veneer. So again, I'm doubling down on the we are more than we may appear, and we're worth a second glance is kind of the idea I'm going for. So I'm not trying to do anything other than pique his curiosity and keep him interested and keep him positive, or try and turn him more positive. So I'm not trying to be, in his face with like lunges or anything. You know what I mean? It's just, it's more just to be, it's so toe-tappingly good that he can't resist.
Right.
He's trying to ignore it and trying to be like, I don't want to hear this. I'm not listening to this. You're shit. I don't want to talk to you. And then as I go on and on and on, he's like, oh, this is actually pretty good. Damn it. He's seeing me nodding his head. It's that type of thing I'm going for.
I'll get you to give me an insight check, please. And just tell me the roll if that's okay while I'm trying to fix our technical problems here in the back.
Of course. Oh, I am terribly distracted by playing my own music because that is a 6.
A 6? If he's enjoying the music, it's hard to tell. Like, there's no visual reference to him enjoying it, but he certainly hasn't told you to stop either.
In theory, I had hoped in the back of my mind, and never said it, that he would be in werewolf form, because I hoped that his ear would be moving,
His tail wags.
Oh,
yeah, of course.
But in the human form, it's harder to spot. So I'm just going to crack on and hope that it's doing the job.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. For the rest of the performance, you definitely don't see any sign of distaste in him. How are the rest of you feeling about the music? Is it just something normal to you? Are you enjoying it? Are you just ignoring it and living your lives?
It's definitely more melodical than what I'd be used to. Anything in the way of music from where I'm from would be I don't want to say it's mechanical, but it's not.
Right.
There's no emotion to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no feeling to it. It's just music for the sake of something needs to be playing in the corner kind of thing. At least not in the areas that I would usually have had to hang out. There were underlying areas where I would have visited that would have had good music and stuff like that.
Yeah, you go to a tavern, there's someone performing undoubtedly, but yeah, the experience of how you would do that might be different. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it all seemed more forced, where this just feels like... This feels more expressional than because it has to be. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, this wasn't done because it's part of what you expect. You go into a tavern, you expect there to be beer, you expect there to be a fight, you expect there to be peanuts, you expect there to be music playing in the corner, la-di-da-di-da, like everything's rhythmical, but in a boring way. Whereas this felt more natural and more enthusiastic and, like I said, more emotional. So this is more than anything like the fresh air, being around kind of company that wants me there as much as I want to be there, and then just having it be as relaxed as it is. This is definitely a new feeling for her. And if anything, this is the kind of things that has kept her there longer than she would have been with anyone at any point.
Right. With you paying so close attention to sort of the vibe and what he's doing, occasionally it almost looks as if he has 6 fingers while he's playing. Like, he's just going perfectly on this. There's just something about it that just looks almost inhuman to what he's doing, but it works, and it just, the sound is perfect.
Because he's playing through his emotion. His body's just playing it and just doing what it needs to play it, rather than it's like the thing of being muscle memory rather than you're trying to make music, right?
Yeah.
As we know,
100%.
through history, 90% of the best music ever made was done by session artists that just were messing around.
Yeah. Even rap at the moment, some of the best rappers are those who just walk into the studio and just feel it in the day, and that's
just drop it out.
Exactly. Yeah, like that's still a musical talent that's thriving and living, and it's definitely something that Slate is invoking in his music for sure.
Yeah. So she would be very much enjoying it, and very much. I wouldn't say she'd be sitting there like toe tapping, but there is an internal beat that she's keeping with him.
Yeah.
For Hatsu, it would be a little bit different. He kind of doesn't have the same access to music. He understands music, but to him, it is more like an opening to Slate. So what he's tried to focus all his presence on the music while not let his guard down. He's still observing and stuff, but he tries to read between the rhythmical and melodical lines with the grasp and focus, meditative understanding who Slate is and what he's expressing with music that he might not be able to express with words.
100%. For Hatsu, art has a completely different meaning. Art is always subjective, but what is art in Saigo no Toshi is certainly different to what art is in Verdoir and what art is in Palperoth and anywhere else. Like, there's always going to be a different viewpoint on it, but yeah, that's well put.
He does understand that he is in a kind of a flow state, if that makes sense. So he knows he's disconnected from his body and he's just thriving in the music. And he kind of knows that exact feeling from sports training with his grandma and stuff. So to him, it's quite similar. It's a different expression, but it has the same purpose. So he tried to grasp at as much of the essence of Slate as he can.
I know about Hatsu and his backstory, but contextually speaking, when you say sword fighting with your grandma, that sounds really weird. You're just like, I see this little old lady in a shopping cart, and you're just swinging your like katana towards her. And she's like, "Ooh!" But 100%. Yeah. With Slate playing music, it's almost as if you all sort of go into not a trance, but a trance-like state. You all take into your own place, and with that, a few hours actually go by, and it's a nice thing when you suddenly consciously aware, oh, we're far from the forest, and it's a nice thing to come back to when you get lost in a good song in the car. That vibe. I don't mean you got mentally taken over by Slate. I just mean because I understand how this campaign goes sometimes, but I do just mean that vibe of just hearing a good song in a car and just realizing you're a lot further down the motorway than you were consciously minutes ago. Over the time, over the next, let's say, day, there will be a stopping point because you guys have to rest. It's just part of it. But over the time, is there anything else that anyone is doing?
Not so much. The way Eos would experience music is, let's say, when she hears music, she's not too familiar with it. She understands its written form. She understands what it means on paper. So when Slate is playing the music, playing his tune, she's breathing in, she's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What she's looking for is specifically known as syncopation.
Sure.
She's trying to find the off beat. She's trying to find when it's supposed to come in and what that means in terms of the next phrase of the song. Mm-hmm. So she's trying to anticipate changes, and when they don't happen, she's like,
So Eos will be a jazz musician. Got it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that. That's an interesting take. You don't often hear in D&D campaigns how characters interpret art or music or that kind of form, which is, I like that. That's a cool take. Yeah. The journey itself is long. It is something of just like the snow is beating down, but it doesn't really phase you guys too much. You do have like a covering to the top of this, so you're not sitting exposed to the snow. At some point, Rowan will come in, covered in snow, all from the front and ice going back because he was just on the side of the cart for so long. The first nightfall and time for rest comes when you're just sort of be a good few miles just outside of Broaderdeer, kilometers, whichever, outside of Broaderdeer. It is something that you can see in the distance, like you can see the almost mild sky pollution from Broaderdeer from the lights. You can see the glowing of the actual location itself down the hills, but you're far away enough that you're on your own. There's a nice clearing of trees, a nice circular clearing that sits that you can just set up your camp, a nice safe space that's away from everything else. Not long until the tents are set up, the rations are served, the fire is crackling. It has this auto feeder that Slate builds. It's nice. Dash, while he was gathering wood, hurt his leg, so he's going to go and rest in the tent. Lissa will take care of him. But the rest of you...
I was an adventurer once until I took an arrow to the knee.
Until I took a human to the knee. Absolutely. But it is... Yeah, the rest of them are available to talk if anyone wants to talk, or you can just sleep, let the night go by, and let the journey continue. Player's choice.
I'm going to suggest that if and when we get to our nightly routine of watches, that we intermingle with the two gentlemen, that each one of them does a watch, because their senses are keener than ours.
Gee, I wonder who you want to watch with. Yeah, I mean, that's...
I'm saying that to the group. It's not like, I'm just saying that to everybody, that we should include them in the watch and that they would be an asset.
Yeah.
You think it might be a good idea to have them as an overlap?
Why not?
Yes. It's a good idea. As ever, I'll take first watch. Which one of these gentlemen am I starting my watch with?
Which one would you prefer? You have Rowan, who has the cat that you met when you were going in, and you have... Oh my god, don't let me blank on his name right now. You have Talon... Talon? No.
Elric?
It's not Ulrich. Gosh. Eldrick.
That's his name.
Eldrick.
Yeah. Eldrick, yeah.
Sorry, Eldrick. Because Ulrich is another one. Eldrick is Shadowclaw. That's the one I was trying to remember. Eldrick is with you as well as an option. He's the one that Slate, quote unquote, stole the kill from.
Okay, I'll
may
go
differ.
with him. I'll go for that guy.
Yeah, he's an elderly, or like an... Oh, I wouldn't say elderly.
Seasoned.
He's seasoned. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Like, he's not young compared to the rest. He doesn't look like he was found at a young age or anything. He's certainly kind of older looking than the rest would be. Yeah.
Once everyone's asleep and keeping our watch and stuff, just sit there and did you start out this way? Are you a I don't know what you'd call it in your circles, I guess, pure blood?
There's only one pure blood. Ain't me.
I'm guessing it's Ulva.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, we were all found recruited.
Can I ask you a question? It's a personal one. Please tell me to fuck off if you don't wish to answer. Why did you choose? What made you choose?
Choose what? The life, the pack?
Yes.
Brotherhood means a lot. Having reliable, having the ability to rely on people makes a difference.
And how do you think you build up this brotherhood, this camaraderie?
Well, I mean, that's all part of it. They pick people that are like-minded, similar temperament. People who work well alone but work better in a group. And usually people that don't even know it.
No, that's not the answer. That's an answer to a question if I was to say to you, why are you part of a team? That's not the answer I'm after. How do you become family?
He scowls and growls a little bit.
How do you become part of the pack?
Prove yourself.
You challenge each other, right?
Yeah, but it's not about proving yourself to them. It's about proving yourself to you.
Absolutely. But by proving it to yourself, you're also proving it to them. And I'm sure there's been times when you fought and argued and challenges and all that kind of stuff, but it makes you stronger because you will understand where you are, correct? You have that bond.
We all start broken. But as Wolver rightly puts it, if you never break, how does the moonlight get in? It's only through the cracks that we can see and grow, change. But at the same time, those flaws are what make us broken and fixed at the same time, the best and worst parts of us.
Now I ask you, think about that when you decide to look at my friend the way you have been, and when you decide to have the aggression towards him that you have, that he has also been broken, just like the rest of us, and is just trying to fit into a world that doesn't quite accept him, trying to fit into a pack where people respect and want him. It wasn't about upstaging you. It was about proving himself to himself so that you could all see, just as you told me you had to do.
As sentimental and profound as that is, it's not him that I disagree with. It's what he is that I disagree with.
What he is
a threat.
Is something created by someone that had more choices than he did. What he does with what he has left over, you hold him accountable for, not for what was done to him.
Do you know what happens when we transform for the first time?
I'd imagine a lot of pain and a lot of murderous rampage.
Well, the murderous rampage, once it starts, it doesn't stop. Controlling yourself for the rest of your life, and it's a long one, is a huge part of who we are. It's a burden. When you can smell the flesh, the blood, and every part of you just wants to give in to that consume, and we don't. But the difference is that we have that choice. Your friend does not. That choice was taken from him by whatever means. But that doesn't make him any less of a threat. Now, how great that scale is, if it's just a small threat to you, or to our community, or if he becomes a raised threat, I guess we'll see.
Well, as by your own dictation there, something happens, you become this, you have to learn to control it. You are taught by your peers how to deal with it. No different for him.
He has no peers, because they all followed the same path.
As I said to Wolver, all the stories we're told out in the world about your kind is that you're all monsters, devouring, taking what you want, ripping whole towns apart. If we were to really think that about every ghost story we're told, we'd never do anything in life. You know as well as I do. It's the man that makes the man, not the people that make the man. You're judging him based on things that you believe you know from others. Doesn't make it true. Do you honestly think if he was that much of a threat, Wolver would have allowed him in?
Wolver has spent a long time wandering these isles, and in doing so has developed quite a sense for keeping friends close, enemies closer, and it's hard to tell if he trusts him on blind faith of his trust of Remington, or if he trusts him because he's not a threat.
So why don't you just ask him?
I did.
And what did he say?
To get back to work.
Exactly. Don't question what you don't know. For as much power as my friend there has, your friends have a lot more. It'd be just as easy for me to assume for one of them to be able to become a raised threat as it would be for you to assume that of him. I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that we can't judge people on their actions of today, or we can't judge people on their actions of the future on what they're doing today. Everyone, quite literally everyone, and you should know this better than most, have the ability to change.
Yeah. And if he doesn't? And then we're the ones who are called in to clean it up?
You won't be. Because if it gets to that point, we'll do it ourselves.
He just leans back against sort of tree stump that's kind of there. I'm gonna give you advantage. Make a persuasion check. Impacts have been made and things have been done. This is more just to gauge to what level. It's not that nothing has come from this conversation.
It's a 15.
I'll consider what you said. Just brace yourself. As someone who has had to take down people who surprised us and went against the way you would believe they could. Well, that shit doesn't leave. That blood stains for life.
I know you might find it hard to believe in the fact I've had quite a short lifespan compared to yourself, I'm assuming. But I've very much had the, we'll say the backstabbing happen already. I know how it feels. But unlike what certain people in my life would like me to do, I choose to believe in the good in people. And as long as I can, will petition for that.
I did too. And I pushed for it. And I made compelling arguments for it too. And that shit ends up getting people killed. Getting people you really care about killed. And trust me, as much as one backstabbing or two backstabbings may hurt you, when you really keep putting your faith in people and they keep letting you down, eventually you just wake up. For most people, especially in our line of life, happily ever after is just a myth. It's something that we strive to give others, not ourselves. If you want to walk that walk and talk that talk, that's really up to you. But when you start seeing the same puzzle pieces fitting into the same spaces, you start getting real good at sniffing out the threats. That shit that's in your friend's blood, if it's only the downfall of him, then that's a mercy. If he rips apart a city, we'll see if you're sitting on a tree stump talking the same thing time after time when that happens.
If that does happen, you'll be the first to hear an apology from me.
Hopefully you'll be still there to make that apology. The knife doesn't turn on the weak first, it turns on the friends. Because they are the ones who can stop it.
Like I said, if it does go that way, then I guess you're right. Because I would be the first person there to try to stop it. Like I said, I don't disagree with you. Just don't judge people based on the smell of their blood. I have great respect for you and your kin. The fact that you live so openly and so freely, well, obviously not so freely, because you keep yourself away. It's still a much better thing than being caged.
We should be watching. He stands up and he moves over to one of the sort of, like it's a sort of jagged edge that goes up and into a little bit more of a hill point. But like I said, I'll consider what you said. Just do me the honor. Consider what I said as well. He leaps up and he grabs one of the rocks that's there, and as he does, the transformation and cracking begins to happen as he sort of starts ascending this hill. And by the time he's towards the top, he's pulling himself up. And just in a flash, he starts to move.
You'll carry on our watch, and I think she usually wakes up Hatsu next for the watch. So she'll go and sit next to Hatsu. She won't say anything. She'll just sit next to him. I know you know I'm here. It's your turn.
Know that you know that I know. So he left you alone to do a round, I guess.
He's watching out. Doing what any good
I'm gonna
protector
take
would
your
do.
spot. Have a good rest. And spread these wings, they suit you.
Yes, it would be nice to get them out of the pack. And she'll do her usual kind of like really flex them out wide kind of thing. Something that Hatsu would probably notice, because I know Hatsu's quite perceptive, is again, like, she doesn't usually stretch that far, but when she does do the very far stretch, like sometimes when she does it, the wing on her right, because of that kind of crook in it that's there now, she'll stretch it out to the point where it's just about to go, and then usually kind of flicks it back in because there's like a wince of like maybe pain or uncomfortableness or something, so she pulls it back in a little bit, and then she'll settle up kind of where Hatsu was and sits and meditates for her evening relaxation.
So, what are you doing?
He's kind of observing the area, thinking about the things that he has seen on their way to that area, and he kind of tries to compare, try to find changes in energy, the busyness of the nightlife in the cities, some things that would occur if something would be off, or the difference in traffics, the difference in the smells, the winds. He would observe the weathers, the stars. He would try to read from the stars how far they are into the month, maybe, and stuff like that. And obviously, look out for potential threats.
Yeah. It's relatively a quiet night. I won't need checks for any of you. Where you are and the way you've gone, where you were led to for this, is a very secluded area. So there isn't too much actually going on, even in the way of animals and creatures, because of the way the wind and the snow is pelting today. There isn't much going on in activity. It's not super easy to see, but there's nothing really around you to see. Like I said, you see the lights in the distance of Broadedeer.
So he would sense that it's a quiet night. Okay. So with that in mind, Hatsu kind of has this moment of playful youthfulness, and he would lower his guard a little bit because he is curious about something that he did find in the Remington bag.
Okay.
And he would pull out a potion.
Oh dear.
And he would look at the potion, he would read what the potion does, and he would consume the potion.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure anymore what potion was in there, because that was about Like 15 weeks ago?
To put it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's posted.
Yeah. Okay.
So he feels kind of the potion's effect. And what he's trying to recreate is what he saw Volva doing. So he has kind of the idea. He trained on trees to walk them up. But he never saw something the like that Volva did. So what he's now doing, he's like using full movement and his enhanced climbing abilities with the potion to try with the attempt to recreate the sin from tree to tree that Volva did. Like get up the wall, jump, dash to the next, jump, dash to the next. And he tries to basically train that to make it something that he could use as well.
When it comes to climbing, which is part of what this is, it's usually athletics. But given Hatsu and who he is, I will go beyond what the limitations of the potion you've just taken are, and I will give you acrobatics. I will give you advantage on the acrobatics check, but I would like to know how you do on this, so you have advantage.
I want to know as well. That is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20 is perfectly fine. So Slate, at some point during the night, you just kind of get up out of bed. You just need to go take a slash or something. It's just a quick thing. You step out of the tent. And you look over. No Hatsu. There's no, like one of the things that will be on your mind is like, where is Shadowclaw? Like, where's he kind of hanging out? What's going on? He's not there either. You're like, okay, that's a bit weird. So you make your way over to go take a slash, and all you hear is from the trees above, and you look up and you just see Hatsu going as he just leaps from tree to tree to tree to tree with spider-like precision. He's just leaping from one and clipping onto it. He's just holding on, and then he pushes himself off and he goes to the next one. You wouldn't notice had you not have just heard a slightest rustling of the leaves.
I'm momentarily very impressed, but I've also just woken up, so I'm kind of bleary-eyed. And in my head, I have this intrusive thought where I think, silvery barbs, that'd be hilarious. No.
Just knock him right out of the tree. It's a nice, it's probably not the easiest shot, to be fair, either, because he is moving at his maximum possible speed if he's using dash, so he's moving from tree to tree with just phenomenal precision and speed. Far exceeding anything you've seen him do in performance before. Is it unusual or crazy or out there? Like, maybe not. It's Hatsu, he has trained for a long time. He has more training than maybe the group put together in certain aspects. Certainly not all aspects, but certain aspects. But there's also something just supernatural about what he's doing at this moment.
I think I would also be aware from when we set out on the hunt, when the pack took off and we took off as a unit, we separated. He couldn't do that, and now he is doing that. So I'd be aware of that to some respect. But that or I'd be like, wait, you mean he could do that the whole time and just chose not to?
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Either he can newly do it or he could always do it, but either way, it's bizarre.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely something different about what he's doing now versus what he was doing in the woods. That's absolutely correct. Hatsu, you can probably pick up on Slate.
He would take a glimpse and would recognize that Slate is already there. And then, like, the adult Hatsu kicks in and he's like, shit. And he kind of... What he tries to pretend is, like, sneak behind a tree that would be somewhat close to Slate. And he would, like, come out behind the tree and say, whoa, that was very much needed. Oh, I had to take a piss. I'm sorry. Are you here for a long time?
And then I'm going to, so I'm still bleary-eyed, turn and start walking back to the tent in sort of like a backwards wave. But as I do it, I'm going to take the form of Hatsu. First, do a normal walk, and then almost like a jump and kick the heels as a nod to what he was doing. Do like a theatrical version of what I saw him do, just like a jokey, wee, look at me, and then just start walking normally and go back to my tent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wait. Slate, you're supposed to watch.
Oh, god damn it. Turn back to myself. Alright, yeah, fine. I'll just walk over and then staying in actually going to stay in the Hatsu form and just climb up a little bit onto a branch and just sit there in like a weird perch situation and just start scanning around.
Interesting. Well, I don't know if the Wolfman is coming back. Do you want to sit here by yourself, or should we do this together?
I mean, that's up to you. I've had my rest, so...
I mean,
That's your
technically
call.
you're already with me, right?
That's true, too. That's true, too.
How do you feel?
On the question of asking me how do I feel and saying that I'm already with him, I'm going to jokingly go into my bag and look for something reflective, and if I can't find it, get my dagger. And when I look into it, I'm going to do like a mirror conversation where it's like, I'm Hatsu, and then in the mirror I'm me. I'm Hatsu and I'm me, so I'm just changing my faces for a joke. I'm like, and I put it away. Like, I don't really know, actually. Different? I don't know. I haven't really felt it so much since the other night, but it's only been a day off. It's the best I got for you.
I understand. I had something similar with my eyes. They changed after I got a little bit older. It took me quite a while to get used to it, but it took me a little longer to accept that they are a part of me. So, I think I kind of know where you're at, and I just want to say, don't let this feeling overwhelm you. You will get used to it. And if you need any assistance, I'm happy to help, if I can.
I'm used to my fair share of changes and having to adapt, whether I want to or not. But I am enjoying having somebody offer help and mean it. Thank you.
Have you read the book again?
Once or twice. I kind of flipped through it a little bit on the way over here. I don't know if you saw that. But yeah, it's been a couple of days.
He puts his hand into his rope, and he would throw over to Slate, too easy for him to catch, in sign of a gentle way. He throws over the empty bottle of the potion that he took.
It knocks Slate out of the tree, Slate falls to his death. Yeah.
And he says, it's like with, the same like with these potions. They make you feel incredible for a short amount of time. But you don't understand the price you pay if you rely on them. It might give your heart some ease temporarily, but don't rely on them.
It can be hard to know what to rely on. Mostly it's just been myself. And now I can't even trust myself.
Why can't you trust yourself? I trust you.
I trust me most of the time.
See, when I hear your music, that represents who you truly are. There's not a single note that would let me believe that I couldn't trust you.
I think there'd just be a silent, not distant, but silent in terms of thoughtful on your words and really listening, because there's an internal conversation and an internal conversation going on, which I suppose is quite obvious that I've heard you, but I'm processing what you've just said, I suppose.
So while you're sitting in silence here with Slate, you look over and you do see that Shadowclaw sitting on a tree on a hill, quite far up. But in terms of what Slate mentioned, or what Richard mentioned earlier for Slate, what he was looking for, you're seeing. The ears are pointed sort of towards you. He is listening.
I think we're on this journey together to find out what potential is within us. And I'm pretty sure there will also be ways to find a connection to your past. And I think we have way more in common than you think we have.
Feel like there would be an immediate kind of a sit up, a straightening in the back. You know, it's not that I wasn't listening previously, it's not that I didn't care previously, quite the opposite. But actually talking about, you know, one of the things that you've seen him have moments of being all consuming about, talking about, you know, learning what he's forgotten. That definitely, like I said, gives him that straightening, and then like from looking away to looking right at you. I hope you're right. I'm hope it all works out. And I look around to the people who are sleeping in the tents, to the quiet breeze, etc., and just say, for everyone.
When I learned something from my grandfather, he always used to say when we had new recruits, he said to me, Hatsu, don't project onto them what you want to see in them, because you can't form that. It is the same with you, Slate. They can do to you whatever they want. They can't change your very essence. That's something you have to trust on.
I mean, that sounds good. But what was that thing? And I kind of look at my own hand like a ripple, you know, because of what's in there now. Maybe they can change my very essence. You heard what Wolver said. I wasn't born, I was made.
Oh, you was born. I'm so sure that you were. Gorebound was born. What they did to you to alter you is a shell. That is not you. It is an extension of your body. I'm not my sword, but the sword lives through me as an extension of me. It doesn't make me or break me. No matter what they throw on you, Slate, as long as you are you are in control.
That's the confusing part. I don't really know who I am. And sometimes I don't really know if what I'm doing is under my control. Am I doing what I think because of who I am now, or because of who I was? Or both, or neither?
Neither does only the past make you nor the present. It's the accumulation of things that make you and shape you. So what you're trying to figure out is, are your thoughts your own thoughts or not? That's why we trained the meditation. It's hard to understand and harder to feel what is yours and what's from the outside. But as long as we keep thriving to find our Zen, the better you will get at it. And sometimes it's
Over
a
the course
path.
of this part of the conversation, I would drop the form and go back to myself while you're talking.
And sometimes this path takes a lifetime. Some creatures like Wolver might take a few hundred years just to figure that out. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth it.
That's why I'm on this journey, to try and figure it all out.
And
Makes
I'm
sense
proud to
of
be
all.
on your side with that.
To some degree, I suppose that's true of us all. We're all here to figure it out, make sense of it all in our own little way.
As he slowly kinda moves back up, he puts his hand on Slate's shoulder and he just says while leaving, "You got this, friend." And he turns around and points towards the hillside and says, "I think there's more than one that learned something today." And he goes back to his tent.
Your hand gets stuck on Slate's sweater. Yeah, no. Yeah, you... yeah, the potion is wearing off. The potion is worn off, actually, is it? Oh, yeah, no, it's an hour. Yeah, so it's wearing off. As you head back to your tent, Eos, you are not as easy to wake as you should be. Your mind is playing something else.
Why?
I don't know, buddy. It's just how the story goes. I'm sorry. For you, you hear the water. You hear the ocean. You can smell the sea. Salt just living in the air. You're standing with a familiar face on the deck of a ship. The water is roaring against the side of the ship. Suddenly you're no longer harbored. The rain starts to come down. Panic sets in among the people around you. You walk around like a ghost. They can't see you. You reach out just faintly to touch someone, but nothing happens. They respond as if you're not even there. The ship almost capsizes from the force of the waves smashing against it. You feel like, you know what, you're almost there. You hear a familiar voice again. You look towards as the people part while they're running through. There's exact space for you to see Riker. Now you've heard stories. You know he's been on ships, but this isn't young Riker. This is post-injury Riker. This is old Riker. This is now, today, yesterday, last week. But he shouldn't be on the ship. He's been removed. His injury removes him from being able to do this. So there's something not lining up. Something doesn't make sense. But before anything can be done, you look up and you see a large creature, jaw coming down towards the ship. And as the darkness envelops you and the sense of water pushing around you, you wake up in your tent. Hatsu, you hear a sudden gasp as Eos sits up within the tent.
Are you good?
Eos steadies herself. She's wakened in a cold sweat.
I know stars can be frightening. Have you dreamed of a star?
No, Hatsu, this is... My mother, she said he had left. Have you ever had a lucid dream, Hatsu? Where you're present, but you're not semi-present?
Oh, I only have those.
Okay. Right. I think when we finish this off, I need to check in with Rem once we get all this done, because I think my dad might be in trouble, but it's impossible.
I know these. We call them Drew dreams. Or true dreams, I'm not sure.
Okay.
My sister used to have some of them. They can be useful, but they can also trick you. Either it's an accumulation of senses of the energies around you that are connected with space and time, and sometimes you get a glimpse of what has been or might be, but most of the time it's just a projection of your dreams and wishes. It's hard to differentiate those two.
When Hatsu finishes that line of speech, Eos blinks right eye, then left eye, then the two of them. The voice in the sky said, find him. Maybe I need to find my dad. Oh, God.
Maybe you always wanted to find your dad.
I saw him before I left for the Arcanum. He was injured. Although I have two...
Maybe write a letter home?
Yeah. Okay. How was the watch?
I don't know. It was quiet, I guess.
Okay. Thanks, Hatsu.
Why?
And she heads off and still shook. She's like shouldering it off. She's like, ah. And she takes out parchment of paper, starts writing the letter.
Yeah. Slate, you would see Eos sitting somewhere, probably beneath the tree that you were sitting in, as she writes her letter. I'm probably gonna just safely assume that she hasn't noticed you yet because she's preoccupied.
Very distracted.
I would happily stay as I am, not necessarily to be a spy, not that I'm not against seeing whatever's happening, but actually just leaving her to her peace and letting her do her thing.
How long until it gets weird? For me, I'd be sitting there like, if she notices me now, this is too weird, I can't tell her now.
and I think that ship would have passed within like a couple of seconds of her sitting and doing the thing, and then that thought would cross your mind, and then you're locked into that. It's been too long now, and then the longer you think that, the longer it has been too long, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah. For sure. Eos, you may send to me either via Whisper or through our DMs.
Yep.
You can tell me what is being said. so
Absolutely,
that I
sir.
can respond appropriately. And
Yes,
remember,
sir.
next time you're anywhere where there could be a courier, that you need one.
Yeah, if I see on Post Malone, I'll let him know.
Oh my god. Listen, there's sometimes I think about like, oh, what if we reach a status where we can get cool celebrities on? I want him to come in and be that courier. I want that. That is good.
Just put an on Post jump.
On Post Malone, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I'm not against being a spy, and like as it would get awkward over time, I would eventually start looking down, because you don't want them to see you, but also I think it would be hard not to see that they're writing something, and then by trying to hide but also trying to keep an eye, I would invariably, curiosity would get the better of me. I would try to have a look. I mean, you know.
Basically, you'd see is very much. She's like writing, and she's like, no. Scribbles it out.
That's not how you
It was
spell
like
my
this-
own name.
Well, for her, actually.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah. But the gist of it you get at this point is she starts off checking, how are you? How's the name of the neighbors and such, and how's that kid doing? Explaining the journey so far. She's met wolf people she thinks she might know to an extent where her people are from. She's not being too descriptive.
Eos is that person that like gets the whole drug cartel caught because they write a letter saying where all the secrets are and everything. Like,
You know, longitude 32,
Yeah.
34 latitude, you know, it's all there. The
Yeah.
geolocation of the gang as we speak.
She is never coming to Vaudois.
guess where I am.
Hey, mom,
Might
guess
be.
what?
She just probably won't leave.
But then she gets to the crypts of, you can sense there's panic in the words she's writing. Where is he? How is he doing? I had a dream. There's a voice in my head telling me to find him. And then, yeah, it signs off with, I love you, I miss you. How's the bookshop?
You roll up the parchment. I say, look, I should make an insight check. Just tell me the number if it's okay. I'm concerned it
I
will.
love the idea. It's
take
one of
the
those
stream.
like, you know, the letters from like Harry Potter where they like say things to remember Meeble or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah.
And they just open up the letter and it's like, where is he?
like Batman.
How's the bookshop?
And that one for insight. So I think I'm too preoccupied with trying not to make a sound or fall out of the tree that I get the headline of what's happening and I can't really do anything else because I'm trying not to breathe too heavily. And then by doing that, you start holding your breath, and then it
You hold
starts
your breath a little too
becoming
much.
thing. yeah. You just get all wrapped up in that.
Right over for the joke. 100% take inspiration. That made me laugh. Yeah. So I mean, with all of that going on, I'm probably going to say also make a stealth check with disadvantage because you're like overthinking it as Slate a little bit, and it's really hard not to pull on that cord.
It's like you're on a flight, you're trying to watch your movie, but you're looking between the seats, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
So it's a 9.
9. Okay. With a 9, you get basically you're not really drawing attention to yourself, but there is a moment where you're like, like you're trying to let the air out and whatever. At that point, Eos, I'd say you probably pick up on something in your vicinity. I don't know if you want to pull that cord, you can.
She just slightly looks around. The ears are twitching. It's like, and she gets back to writing. She's too in the mood.
The other
Just too
wolf
focused.
guy walks past, and you're just like, oh, okay. The sun rises. The watch has ended. The cart is being loaded up. Slate is somewhere still in a tree. No, for sure. When Eos leaves, I'm sure there's a few moments, and then then Slate's just like gets down from the tree, and he's just like, just like trying to catch his breath.
Crick in the neck from looking.
Yeah. Like every muscle hurts because he sat tense not to move. The branch would move. as the cart gets packed up, I'd say we pack up too. We take a wee little break here. I just need to check the system anyway to see what's happening here. Make sure we're still actually okay, because we are losing frames by the second, so I'm not sure what's happening.
Gotcha.
We're hemorrhaging tech problems at the moment. Yeah, we'll get that sorted, and then hopefully for next week that'll be way better. I'm gonna redo all of this, but for the moment, let's take a little break. We'll be back in 10-ish minutes. There will be a boss battle. Enjoy the videos in the meantime. The intro videos for each of the characters with Master Busy's amazing music, which you can find on our Patreon in a full mixtape that Busy put together, including those tracks and some information about them in the booklet as well. Also precursor tracks and different ideas that he had and things that inspired him about the campaign. And Busy put a lot of work into it, so it's definitely worth taking a look if you can.
It's so good.
It's very good. Cool. We'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Good luck with the boss battle, folks. See you shortly. Hey, we are back. That was a really quick break if you're on YouTube and a really long one if you're on Twitch. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We are good to go. We're all fueled up, caffeinated, and ready to slart. I was trying to remember the word. Ready, steady, slart. Let's go. So you guys have packed up your slart. You are en route, as the kids say. Is there anything you guys want to do during this time?
Yeah, this is just very distracted. He's trying to remember a dream, and it's very, very difficult.
And it gets more and more difficult the more you poke and prod at it.
No.
This is the way. Yeah. What distracts Eos and the rest of the group is at some point you're passing this, it looks like a mound, but what almost appears to be a kind of pointed mountain with the head cut off. It goes up to a certain point and then it just stops. It's got a flat surface like a plateau. Emblazoned into the sort of central point of this mound appears to be like the shimmering of some kind of reflective surface. As you move past it, sometimes the sunlight just reflects back off the mountain, which would indicate something is reflecting it back rather than it just being a shiny mountain. Yeah.
And is this, as we discussed the map before we left and took their advice on which way to go, we talked about, north of Broadadir, I think it was the Gottenhammer Mountain. Is that this?
That's this.
But I know that from the map, yeah.
I don't know. It's too. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, when you say something is reflective, I've spent my fair share of time in front of either A, a mirror, or B, using things like blades and steels to reflect and look, etc. Is that what we're talking about? Like, are we talking about like that, something big, and effectively, is it natural or unnatural? So is it like water reflecting, or is it like metal or armor or glass or man-made, reflection? What are we like?
From this distance, it would be significantly hard to tell, but there's definitely a shine to it that would indicate it's more than just, say, the flow of water. From this distance, you wouldn't really see the shimmer, shine, and the because you can see water at a range, but after a certain point, there isn't really a strong reflection from that surface. So this is something more consistent than water.
I'll take it that, normally when light hits water, you're seeing it at a particular angle. But like those pictures that look at you, no matter what way you are, as long as you're in front of them, because whatever it is, I'm assuming is vast, the reflection is there for a long time, which leads me to believe that it's probably something similar, like you say.
I'll say make an investigation check and then tell me the roll.
If it's kind of obvious and active as to what he's doing, can I offer to help?
Sure. Yeah.
So will I roll with advantage with help?
It's you two, either both you roll or one with advantage.
Roll. Roll for it.
19.
Actually, Izzy made a good point by taking a short rest. You guys can mark off a short rest if you wish as well. 19 is whatever this is it's big enough to be impacted by the clouds. So as clouds move across the sky, you can see the reflection, but you can also see how it's like this thing as it beams light towards you guys. It's not raising the temperature especially, but like it is being disrupted in different areas by the clouds. So it has a rather large surface to it.
I guess I would just point that out to Madriana, but obviously because we're talking about it, I'm not hiding it, so it's obvious to anyone, but I'm talking to her specifically about what we're seeing and the discussion that we're having, and that it, is the mountain range, etc. And
so we're on the right path then. Huh. What is your calculation then, Slate, about when we should get there?
I mean, best guess was a day and a half. When we spent yesterday traveling, that gives us a half or less. I mean, that's without even looking at where we are on the map. So, a little while longer, but I guess we should ask one of the boys here, because they've traveled it more often than us, so they'll have a more accurate read on where we are specifically and what obstacles might remain.
Why don't you ask your friend? See if he'll give you a straight enough answer.
So I presume they're traveling in a similar fashion to before, one sitting on the cart, one hanging off the cart, or traveling in the back. So like that, I'll approach Eldrick again and ask him, what's your best guess on how long we have remaining journey time from your experience of these roads?
Well, if we're passing Gothenhammer now, you should be there just before dusk.
Perfect. Thanks. Then I'll go back and just relay exactly that, we're gonna get there dusk, dinner time. Good a time as any.
Maybe we can pick up the pace a little then. I'd like to get there a little bit earlier just to make sure I can have a scout around the town first to make sure there's no new terrifying occurrences.
I guess you should have that conversation because I had the last one. I nudge you to go talk to our guide.
Okay. She turns around, whistles, like, we're going to pick up the pace so we can get there a bit earlier. Jog on. Let's go.
Who's controlling the horses? We'll say Dash is controlling the horses. He's sitting on the horse, and he's Liz is riding the horse beautifully, with the other horse beautifully, and Dash is trying to be cool and suave about it, and she's like, oh, pick up the pace. No problem. And she starts going, and Dash is like, as the horse just takes him and goes.
Is that one of them things where the saddle slips and he ends up underneath the horse,
swinging off the side of the horse,
banging his head on the floor,
he ends up hurting his leg and has to stay in the cart. I understand, that makes sense. Yeah.
Every moment that Kian is missing a session, there's going to be leg injuries for Dash. Yeah, absolutely. He's hanging on for dear life as the cart just goes, as the start just goes.
Before we leave the vicinity of the mountain range, while we're still in visual distance of the glimmering item, I want to approach whichever of the two werewolves are nearer that side. So, it doesn't really matter to me which,
Sure.
But I want to ask them, have they been up there? Do they know what it is? And I want to ask, all of a sudden I'm getting the sense that this may be in fact the research center, or it may be, this is just a pure guess, but that in my head that makes sense. We know there's a research center around here. We know, and I associate, things like that with stainless steel, and that's reflective. So that's where my mind goes to. So I just want to blurt it out and see if they've been that way, or at least got closer to see it, or if they know something that I don't.
To Gothenhammer? No. That's where Megaverse is. We don't go there.
How far is it, roughly?
Half a day? No. 2 hours, 3 hours.
And what if you were flying?
I don't fly.
She gives another kind of very short, sharp whistle, and Elby comes and lands on her shoulder. She kind of gives him a look, and he squawks back a bit, and it's almost as if there's a conversation, but with no like actual lip movement or anything, or no verbal. And then he flies off. Oh. I'm essentially sending him.
Did you always have that bird?
I'm surprised you didn't notice.
I'm surprised they didn't notice. Gestures to the cat. Sorry, essentially you're sending it on a quest.
It's not exactly a normal bird. I don't think the cat would necessarily think twice of it.
Interesting. You're a little strange, but in a good way.
Yes. We're all a little strange here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. Yeah. So you're sending Albie to kind of catch up to you guys back in Dagtorp, I guess, right?
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send him now. Tell him to just keep looking around, gather as much information as possible. And then what I will do is once we get back into Dagtorp and have lodgings for the night, I shall resummon him.
Okay.
Of which then he can relay any information that he's found for me.
Cool. The bird just flies off, heading towards the mountain. Full force, full sprint, doing its best.
And I just want to ask the follow-up, because it was mentioned. We don't go there. I'm just going to jump in after this is happening and go, why don't you go there?
You don't fuck with a Megacorp.
So just going there is fucking with them.
Well, we just stay away from them. If we go there, we find out.
Do you know who owns it? Or who runs it?
It's one of the DECA facilities, but... Oh, you just switched accents. My bad. It's one of the DECA facilities, but I don't know.
Okay, so it's Deckard. Okay.
Deckard Kane.
You should have known that Dickhead
None
was
of them
involved.
come down this way either. Or do they?
Just nods. He just shrugs. Rowan just shrugs. And then Eldrick is like, I don't know. Not usually.
How many years have you guys been alive? Like, have you been around? Are we talking hundreds or are we talking thousands?
The clan or us specifically?
Well, you two, as you're the ones here.
I was born in 1280, roughly.
So you're not that old, okay?
I was born 1027.
So a bit older. Have you ever had a situation where you've seen a body in a tank? Like filled with liquid? Have you ever come across anything like that?
What kind of tank?
I imagine like a big glass tank, like a fish tank, but with a person inside.
I don't even know if I've ever seen one with fish.
That's fair. No, just wondered.
Not especially.
Figured I'd ask. Right, chop chop. We need to get there before nightfall so we can check the place out first.
I know the guys have seen the tank before that he's talking about with somebody in it, etc.
Sure,
on
it was
the boat
only
a long time
Dash.
ago.
I don't know if Madriana even saw it, but she got Dash away from it. I do know that. I don't even know that.
I did see it because I went up to the window. I flew up to the window.
That's right. You did see it up at the window. Lissa didn't see it either, so it was Dash and Madriana who saw it. Yeah.
So upon hearing this conversation, does that kind of apparatus ring any bells for me in terms of have I ever seen one, or have I heard any conversations about one within a facility or wherever I may have been? So have I seen it, or am I aware of it, I suppose is what I'm trying to find out in some way, shape, or form.
Make a history check with advantage.
Dirty 20.
Let me think. Okay. You have seen something similar. You were wheeled past it. And it comes back to you in such vivid imagery that you hear the squeaking of the wheel on the cart that you're strapped to. Your body feels as weak as it did then, almost as if you have no control or ability to move. You look in and you see several vats. Whether or not they're similar, it's hard to say, because through depiction, it may even sound similar, but it may not be the same thing. It's hard to give you a yes, this is the same, or no, because you haven't laid eyes on the other one. But you are certainly, after seeing what looks like corpses in some, and then empty ones as well. Empty ones meaning no fluid or anything inside it. There are signs outside of each one that all have crosses on them, and then the final one with a corpse in it, someone is in there and they just mark a cross on it. Not like a religious cross, I mean like an X. Just for clarity. Yeah. Is religious cross the correct term? They were kind of torture devices. I'm not sure. Not that cross anyway.
Not a crucifix.
Not a crucifix, thank you, yeah. Crucifix is, yeah, that would be
Torture
religious term. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, that's what you get, and then suddenly you're brought back to where you were.
It's not something I would share because there's no information in it other than I think I've seen one of these. So, and
even then, it's more like in a drug stupor delirium state. It's not like a...
Exactly.
It's not hard fact anyway. It's,
exactly.
Not consistent information. Yeah. The shine wears off as you guys keep going because you're no longer in that radius of whatever is being reflected against. If you look forward, you would see the Dagtorp in the distance is getting closer and closer. You're probably about an hour out.
Are you guys coming with us into Dagtorp, or are you going to drop off? Just saying this to the Wolfkin.
Oh, sorry.
And I jump in with, or are you going to meet up with those scouts that were sent? What do you do after you drop us off?
Well, we're the scouts. 2 people were supposed to be sent, and you were going in that direction, so we tagged along with you.
So you're heading further in then? Okay.
Yeah, we were gonna jump off and go and do some of our own reconnaissance. We have really keen senses. Good sight, good smell. We're fast, quiet. We don't play instruments randomly.
Come on, you know you enjoyed it.
Make an insight check.
For a 16?
Damn, I was kind of hoping that would fail, just so he's like an impenetrable vault. There's a gruffness to his as he looks away, but there is that look in his eye that would suggest that that is a mask and nothing more.
I saw those toes tapping.
Meanwhile, the cart stops because Dash fell off.
I want to turn to the 2 wolves.
No care whatsoever.
No, I'm too busy having this conversation.
Standard behavior.
Yeah, standard. Liz will sort it out. It's all good. I want to say to them, obviously we brought this information to the Lunar Kin, and obviously you're following up in terms of an investigation that we sort of started and stumbled upon with Orla that she's already looking into. Is there any way that we could meet later, or you could leave a message for us out here, carve it into a tree, a symbol, a sign, something that we could learn what you learn after you learn it? Like I said, meet back up sounds easier, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably be a day or two. You're welcome to regroup with us, or...
Just an aside, in fact, having been to Broadadair before, we might know some of the places, so could we just say to them, we'll meet you at
Dagthorpe,
the inn, or the... Oh, sorry, not Broadadair, Dagthorpe, my apologies. Can we just say to them, we'll meet you at the, you know, the inn, the convenience store, the whatever, and... You know, because I'm sure they're going to want rations and to eat and everything after expending energy, running, hunting, perceiving, whatever. So it probably makes more sense. And for their cover as well, it's normal to come and go and pass through there. So I'm going to suggest that might be the easiest way that would draw the least. I mean, having a clandestine meeting just outside the town might show up and raise more flags than just coming in and passing through. So I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, it takes a while to get to where we have to go. But we can meet you here tomorrow.
We'll have a platter waiting for you.
Yeah.
Do take care down there. And try not to kill the creatures dwelling there. They seem to be more frightened than inhospitable.
We never take a life unless it's necessary. I'm pretty sure you have nothing to worry about. But I do think if you have any information about what we're walking into, this is the time. You've encountered this creature before, we have not. Is there anything that can be given to us to aid our journey?
Description-wise, they look kind of like a giant, angry snow teddy bear.
I think he's not talking about these kind of creatures. I think he's more talking about the creature that almost exploded us all.
Oh, well,
they got the rundown of how we got here and the steps we took through the caves and who we met, and to watch out for those already. I think it's a more tactical advantage at this stage. Early warning signs, etc.
Well, apparently it'll have no nipples.
No nipples. Noted.
Oh, they might have nipples because Dash wasn't around them.
Nipples are 50 percentile.
Anyway, we don't want to confuse you with that kind of information. It looks like this entity possesses bodies of people. They might look like burned. They might look like in fear and pain. This creature likes to show its brutal force, and it can be very devastating. However, it seems like the strongest of his abilities seems to have kind of a wind-up. So if you fear the energy changing and the coloring changing, you should keep your distance. Dash in and out.
If I remember correctly, was it 80 foot or 100 foot? Look, far. like proper distance.
In general, we can take a hit. How strong are we talking?
I'll take out my map and show them roughly where we were, because when they get there, they're going to see the blast radius and they'll be able to see the centric circles of like that's where it started, and then they'll be able to judge by the trees and the burn marks and all the different things. It'll give them a fairly good idea.
What power scale?
1 to 10. 7. Easily.
What do
And
you
I don't think
What do you consider
that
us to
it
be
showed
for reference?
a strong 6.
Just
Yes,
nods.
looks how to like.
No, they wanted the answer. They got what they wanted. There's definitely a sense of respect from that, rather than a sense of like they don't take it as a slam. They take it as factual. Like if they are a strong 6 and that thing's a 7, they're glad there's 2 of them. Yeah.
Also, we don't know what else it's capable of. We don't know if we found it in a wounded state. We just, describe how we found the old man, and we were thinking about healing and then thinking about stabbing as a group, and then how it transpired. And so we don't know what happened prior to our arrival. So we don't know if it was an 8 or a 9 before our arrival and simply weakened to what we believe to be a 7, or if it had already used some of its power. But it certainly appeared to be weakened in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's through exhaustion, or something, or from taking damage, we don't know.
I don't think it hunts for food. I believe it enjoys what it does, because in the caverns there was dozens and dozens of people. All hands in the chest. There was a shrine to the unnamed one. Don't know his name. But there was a shrine to that. That seemed rather untouched. It is.
Oh, and be careful. There's in the altar room of the unnamed one, there's something that looks like a trap. I wouldn't touch it.
Yeah.
When I know I kind of zipped out of that fight, but before, like when we ran out of the cave and then I zipped off, was there any like smell in the air, Roper? Like how if there's like a thunderstorm or something, you can almost smell it in the air. The electricity. Was there a sulphurous smell? Was there?
I think in the caves, you said there was sulfur smell in the caves. I think. Don't know about outside.
What I'll say for this one is that you guys as a party have enough information to put this together for a Madrana who would logically ask that question. So
this is something maybe you could explain to these guys so that if they were to smell it, they can know something's coming.
Rotten eggs.
Well, you make the assumption that these two things are from the same source, but we're not sure of yet.
No, but if the smell is something that could be an early warning to these guys, then it's something to consider at least.
But I think the smell on the cave was different than the smell on that entity.
Yeah, I'm asking for you to explain the smell of the entity, or at least what it was smelt like to be around them.
It was definitely different than in the cave. It had not much natural properties as far as I can tell. It's definitely using heavy magic.
Slate, do you remember there was that like circle of ground that wasn't covered in snow? We came down from the hill, it was like completely untouched. Then further to that we found the body underneath the ice.
I
Like a
think
hunting
at
ground.
the time we put it down to something. Hatsu put it best when he said that there was a wind up to that explosion. And I guess that might have been the early stages of that. Maybe that was the exhaustion. But they were like, it strikes me that the creature was stop starting. And every time it did, there was a burst of heat, which is what cleared that area. And then on a couple of feet, and then another clear area where the burst of heat. And I guess the bursts got shorter in between until eventually what we found and what we saw. But that's only a theory.
We'll take all of this into account, and with that, hopefully will be enough. In your honest opinion, do you think we too can take this thing?
Yeah.
Can you deflect or absorb magic?
Not that I'm aware of.
From what we've seen, I would say, can you kill the creature that will stand before you? Yeah. Can you kill the entity that leaves the body after it's finished with it, or after you finish with it? That's another question, because we saw it go up into the air and move on. So, yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, you did saw how we killed the entity in the woods, right?
Yes.
Did you see that my arrows didn't seem to harm them?
The stench of that creature was overwhelming. But yes, I believe we saw.
There's certain methods to form magic and spirits into weapons. And he slowly unsheds his sword, and he shows Kazejoba. This blade was forged in a very specific way, so it is able to cut magic with the right technique. I think you would need something the like to harm that entity. So, to answer your question, can you handle it alone? I wouldn't even think that any of us has the magic abilities to do so. That would be a community effort. But Mr. Maleficum did send somebody from the Arcanum that is going to wait for us. And maybe it would be a good call to proceed with his consulting.
We will go do our investigations, but we will not engage.
I'm going to take some time to update their map if they have it. If not, I'll write it in the snow. And I want to just recap about the shapes of the tunnels underneath, because they were quite confusing. And I have, we only went through a portion of them, but I'm going to talk to them about some of the landmarks and about, we believe that the tunnels led to the Molten Crown, and we talk about how, the unnamed one, and there was talk of a necromancer. Maybe they're related, maybe they're not. And just talk about the lake, like Eos was saying, where the lake was, where we encountered those 10-foot diameter areas where there was no snow, and we posited the theory it was to do with heat or a mini blowout or something like that, and that there was blood that was recent, and then we followed it all, and that led us to, and basically just give them all the landmarks and all the little nuances that we have, And what I'm endeavoring to do is to return the favor that they've done for us, because they've just brought us from where we were to where we are now safely by using their expertise and information. So we have the opportunity to specifically do the exact same thing for them. So I'm going to painstakingly spend the time to spell out every little detail that I can remember and muster, and every landmark and everything I can think about, to try and, like I say, return the favor in a very obvious way.
Yeah. Absolutely. They take the notes. Sorry, excuse me. They take the notes and they Shadowclaw approaches you, Slate. A word before we go.
Sure.
He walks a little bit away from the group with you.
I'm listening to this to make sure they're safe.
Sure. Look, I know many things or two about the monster that dwells inside. So I will give you this. Firstly, a word of warning. You have not yet even begun the journey that you are on. The toughest times are still to come. And if you truly love the people that you are traveling with, hang on to that in the darkest moments, because that'll be the only strength you have. Now they seem to trust you and believe that they can count on you. And maybe they're right. A part of me really hopes that they are. Personally, I think we're going to have to come in and cut you down one day, and I hope that I am wrong. Prove me wrong. I don't need another regret on my back.
I'm gonna just put my hand out and did like a sign of friendship, whether it's to shake the hand or grab the forearm or whatever the equivalent is, to give him the option. And it's kind of like that. We didn't start on the best foot, but I think we're plain talking to each other. We're both helping each other, so we've obviously reached that point, and this gesture is an acknowledgement of that milestone between us.
Yeah. You do the Schwarzenegger gif, just two real beefy arms. Trees get knocked over from the impact, the Slark goes flying. You guys, you share that camaraderie, and it's certainly a bridge over tumultuous waters, I guess. As you do, and as you begin to let go, you feel the grip change as his body does. Eldrick takes on his woven form. And as he does, he changes and begins to run, and Rowan runs with him. Their forms seem to enhance their abilities only slightly. You've seen them move with and without these forms, and you know that there's something to it that permanently changes them, but things become easier in this form. So even though you hear the bones crack, they don't acknowledge the pain. Instead, it seems to liberate them. It's seconds until they're out of view. They move incredibly fast. You get the impression they probably could have been faster on foot. It was an open goal for them to stay with you. It was something they opted to do. They didn't hide that, essentially. There was no initial shadiness to it, but they definitely could have done this journey quicker on foot than they did with the horse. What do the rest of you do?
Not bad for a bunch of old dogs.
I'd imagine they heard that.
I'm hoping they did.
Know, every dog came from a wolf, so there's something pure to them.
Hmm.
I never got to pet the cat.
I did.
Oh,
You petted a badger. That's better.
it's not a cat though.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, we better return to the
Did I
other side.
mention that I'm a little bit concerned about you, Eos?
About 5 times, yeah. I appreciate
Do
it.
you know what kills in battle?
Lack of experience?
Lack of attention.
She has it when she needs it, don't you, Eos?
Yes.
I just hold my arm out, like, the triangle kind of thing, crook of the arm. Shall we?
She does the same.
But
just
you could
flings her
also
elbow
be-
against yours.
You could also be one of the lucky ones that don't give any energy whatsoever, so you just disappear from the radar, I guess.
I can do that. I can simply disappear if I need to. It takes a lot of attention.
He's just jealous because you're going to end up on a star. Let's go.
I can't do what Hasu does.
I just
And
start
that is
dragging him towards the
good.
town.
Lissa and Dash come around from the other side of the cart. Dash has got a stick under his arm. He sprained his leg when he fell off the horse. You all make your way.
What's up, little Timmy? Timmy!
Miss Dash. Dashy.
Lissa just responds, he had a little accident.
What did you do to him?
He did it to himself. He rode on the horse sideways for about 6 hours and then fell.
Why would you do that, Dash?
He just looks towards you and then looks away again.
It definitely makes sense that you were riding side saddle because it's supposedly only women that do that.
He hobbles with a little bit more curiosity in his stride.
Before we get into town, I'm obviously going to help Eos in any way that she needs help to prepare herself to be able to go through town and, that kind of thing. Prepare myself as well, make sure that I'm kind of tucked away properly and it's just a backpack, that kind of thing. And anyone else that needs it.
Eos, how are you hiding yourself?
Yeah, so as per usual, thank to the kind of like face covering Hatu gave me a while ago. Pulls it up, she puts the hood up, she's trying to position herself in the middle of the gang, always looking downwards as much as possible, and just keeping much to herself. So if she is passing someone from the side, she's just like a cloaked figure, hopefully not picking up any attention if possible. Just huddling away.
No worries. You walk into town. It's not very difficult to get from the edge of town into the center of it. It's not a very big place. You make your way in through the familiar streets now that you've spent some time on. Everything looks the same, normal.
We're going to try and go to that same tavern, I guess, where we had the room before.
Yeah, no
And
worries.
see if Orla's there again.
Previously as well, Dash and I have both opted to use our disguise kits to assist Eos. And again, I think that conversation would have been had on the way in. So if there was any prosthetics or, like the fake nose type idea or any of that to go with the bandana or anything that could help make it even better. I'm quite sure that Dash is normally more vocal than Slate about it, but both are willing and able and have done in the past. So I'm sure that would also be a consideration for closer, maybe not the closest of looks, but certainly better than not.
In the ears, beyond head, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just rubber band the ears.
I imagine you like pin them together like behind your head and then put the hair over it. So
Yeah. It's like the hood on top because compression hopefully stays.
yeah.
Yeah, you go into the tavern. It's quite busy, popular. There's a lot of rambunctious noise in the background, and like, of course, as always, there's a band playing. And you see it's not as packed as it was before, but it's also kind of like you guys got here at early dusk. It's just before the dinner time rush. So the way it works, I guess, here is that it's going to get a little bit busier as time moves on. What do you guys want to do for the moment?
I'm gonna ask the barkeep if we can have the room that we had before, the little side room thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what. Dash
It's you guys
bought
again.
for us.
Of course.
I was just gonna say I would definitely be taking part in that conversation and offering to get the place going as the crowds arrive later, just as I did before, and like that they looked after us with, you know, drinks and food and whatever have you, and you know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of a conversation.
Yeah, hell yeah, of course. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. He nods and accepts the usual terms of what you had going previously, and he's more than happy to do that. Do you want to
Last time we were here, we didn't have a slot. It's like a sled come cart thing. Would you have room in the stable to put that as well for us?
Yeah, you guys can just leave it around back. That's fine.
Will be safe enough?
Should be.
Okay. Dash, get on that.
He just looks up in pain.
When last I was here, I quite remember having quite a good session as an entertainer. I was quite successful, as I remember. So what I'm going to do is wait a little bit, like you said, until I see some of the faces from before, locals, other people that would know me from last time, or would go, oh, that's the guy. And then I'm also going to pick where I feel the acoustics are best, having traveled from table to table the last time,
Right.
to try and give my performance the best possible
Advantage?
opportunity. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you can go ahead and have advantage. It's totally fine.
I want to know what song you're singing.
At 11.
Yeah. The issue isn't so much your positioning. The issue isn't so much your playing. It's quite well.
Can I try something?
Sure.
As Hatsu would recognize that he seems to struggle,
Yeah.
he tries to attempt to shift the attention by enhancing his performance. Basically what he's doing, he takes some apples and stuff, and he's doing like a juggling and stuff to the music, so it shifts the attention a little bit away from him.
Yeah, you can make a performance check as well.
Not my stronghold, but I try. It's a 7, which I re-roll with my inspiration.
Okay. There's a lot of effort for rolls. All right.
That is a 19.
At first, it doesn't seem like it's working because the issue isn't so much the space or the music or the sound or any of that stuff. The issue actually is that there's not that many patrons in here yet because it's still quite early. But by pure magic, people open the door and start coming in from the work shift and are flooding in, and Slate's already playing and Hatsu's already performing, and it certainly picks up the pace. People want to come see the juggling guy and the musician, the bard. Yeah. They give you a hearty, healthy discount.
I want to add something to that. Like as the crowd gets fuller and stuff, and Slate is gonna fucking jam it up, he's gonna get more into it. I would say like the big Patreons, Hatsu would from time to time juggling, draw the sword, cut like a little slice and make it flip into the hands on the Patreons. Like if that makes sense.
Cool, yeah, you're just giving them slices of apple and stuff. That's nice. I like that. Yeah. Hell yeah, that's fine. Absolutely.
Jack Torp's very own fruit ninja. I'm gonna make sure Eos is comfortable anyway in the room and stuff, and sitting there while these two idiots are outside trying to get us cheap booze.
We just go into the room and Eos is being chilling on the bench, backpack on top of her tummy. She's just happy out where she is. But she will ask Madriana one thing, actually. Madriana? I'm gonna take a guess that the man behind the desk does post.
If he doesn't, he'll be able to direct us to the right place. Do you have something you want to post?
With great urgency, Eos gets up, puts down the backpack, and one hand over the letter into Madriana's open hand. She goes, "Please."
Of course. Anything for you. Yes. I'll you keep an eye on these two idiots and I'll go and sort this out for you, okay?
Who knew Hatsu was a juggler in her previous life?
I don't think it was in a previous life. Not by the look of those skills.
That's true.
Maybe that's why he covers his face. Because he's a famous sideshow clown. I leave Eos like pondering this wild aspect that Hatsu could be an actual clown from a carnival. And I'll go and ask the barkeep, where can I post a letter from here?
Yeah, so you try and ask where you can post this letter, where you can put this information. The barkeep says that there's usually in the morning the couriers would come through. He's happy to ship it for you if you like.
The barkeep will give it to them, okay. And how much?
Well, that depends on where you want it to go.
I take a look at the address. I'm assuming it's got the address on there.
Got the air code.
Yeah, the word you would see specifically is Azazaki.
Azazaki, okay. She makes a mental note of, where it's going to and stuff, but nothing really.
Oh, that would probably be like 2 silver pieces?
Yeah, happily. And I give them the 2 silver.
He takes it, he bundles it together. It's obvious from his actions, you would probably note this because of the way you watch people's interaction. He's actually not pocketing any of this himself. He bundles it all together, sticks it under the press, and presumably is giving it to the courier in the morning, but he's paying the courier in full. He's not keeping any cut to himself, which to a Madriana might even be a little bit strange because it's almost expected that he would. I think you're on mute, maybe? Am I on mute?
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Oh, there we go. I was like, is it me?
I was like, I'm like this.
What it is I've got the hotkey to mute Discord is 0.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I changed the silver in my inventory. I fucking forgot. Yeah, she would expect that would have been like 1 silver for me, 1 silver for them kind of thing. So the fact that it wasn't was kind of like, oh, okay. But either way, he's got it to be sent off. I'll head back into the room to Eos and be like, the courier's going to pick up in the morning. Kind of standard delivery, I suppose. You'll be expecting a week or 2 at least.
It's okay. What do I owe you?
I don't worry about that.
5 silver.
Okay.
That's one thing.
I know.
Not that many would have noticed necessarily because they wouldn't know, but she's still to this day hasn't taken a penny off of anyone here for anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Not publicly, but Dash's money is surprisingly gone. No.
He owed me that 10 gold. I'm just saying.
Probably sold the intros.
I did owe it. There you go. He said it himself. So
Nailed the impression. I didn't realize he wasn't here. I thought he just popped in.
right.
While doing the performance and walking around like I did before, while not as good, but salvaging with the help of Hatsu. Obviously, I'd like to keep an eye out specifically for Chance, although that might be quite difficult depending on how he chooses to be. But the fact that he knows we're going to meet them, and this is one of the main places to be in this place. I'm assuming if he's there, there'll be a wink, a nod, a knowing glance. That will give the game away or whatever. So that's what I'm looking for while I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, as you're performing here in the Molten Mug, it's one hell of a performance, one that's kind of obvious that it's beyond the normal means of a standard bard that somebody may pick up on if they were so trained to do so. At the moment, though, no sight of him directly or indirectly either.
Does our friend turn up at some point?
Which one specifically? We have a lot of friends.
Orla.
Orla? Oh, yeah.
Is it Orla? Yeah. When she turns up, not getting up from the seat where I am with Eos, but just give her that look of like, that kind of like nod, like acknowledge that we've both seen each other kind of thing.
Yeah. So what we'll say is that you spot her when she comes in. I'm not going to make you do a check. She walks in kind of a more powerful, determined way as she walks in. Usually she is quite subtle in her movements. A hunter always is, but now she seems more determined in her stride and more forceful with it, which is something that you just note for a second as she then she seems to spot you, nod, and then she like kind of squint glares at you, like not expecting to see you here. And she walks over. Good to see you.
You too. Seems like we have some unfinished business to help you with.
And where are the rest of you?
You mean you can't hear them out there? And I just give a glance out into the bar where they're dancing and juggling and Christ knows fucking what now.
There's a look of acknowledgement, and as she nods, as she looks across at them, trying to get their attention as well. Slate and Hatsu, you would see her, and she gestures like into the back room.
I'd obviously finish up the song and start, as I'm singing, moving closer to where I want to be. So when I finish, it's kind of like a big bow and your usual like encore, yeah, just gonna have a drink, back in a minute type it, and then nod to Hatsu and off we go.
Roll a d4 for me, please. Hatsu, you do the same.
How many actually want an encore?
I wonder.
Oh,
To
cool.
two.
We want more.
Also 2. You both get 2 pieces of copper for your performances. You may add that to your currency pool.
Copper?
Copper. Silver and gold is rare as hell, man. He's like betting
I'm
10
just
gold
saying-
is like betting a house. Like you guys are.
I mean, obviously, Hatsu would have a relation to what money is worth, da-da-da-da. But, like, deep in his heart, he feels a little ashamed.
Oh my god.
4 copper is good. Like some people get 4 copper a day from their wages. That's pretty good.
The letter costs 2 silver?
Yeah, he's used to different wages. Let's phrase it that way.
I think busy is differently used to different wages. I don't think he remembers what it's like to be level 3.
Slate's perspective is the opposite. It's we're getting bed and board, we're getting food, we're getting alcohol, and we got some. Okay, it's not much cash, but it's cash in the pocket. So
It's a couple beers. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good life for a bard.
You can get a whole bowl of Dragonfire chili for a copper. Yeah. But you guys can add your 4 copper to yourselves.
Lovely.
Yeah, you walk in to the sort of room area. You're all joining Orla and Eos and Major in that room, yeah?
I think they were coming in, yeah.
For all intents and purposes, I'm going to say that Dash is not present for this because that gives in-game narrative reason to explain this to him later, rather than him being there and one of you having to transcribe everything that happens or make him watch the whole stream mode.
Oh, yeah.
I would also say on the way to the room, Hatsu would accumulate what he saw through the crowd while they were performing, and is actively looking out for just bear with me. I find the name. What the fuck? Where is he? For Chance?
Yeah, no worries. The door, like Orla closes the door. How long have you been back?
2 bowls of chicken wings long.
And you know why I'm here?
You live here?
Not quite. As the visage of Orla changes and becomes Chance Artifice.
You could do that the whole time, Orla?
First and foremost, did you get the elixir?
Of course.
Good. And you're all safe?
Well,
Wait.
Dash has got a bit of a dodgy knee, but apart from that, yes.
I don't want to be rude or something, but somebody that can turn from someone to somebody we expect to see. How can we make sure you are who you are?
It's a good question. I would leave it to Slate.
Was just about to say, tell me about the first time we met in detail.
He recounts
The detail that only you should know.
He recounts passing you as a little girl and leading you into the bar, trying to persuade you into coming to join the school, saying that it would be the best option for you. He recounts basically everything from your session 0 with perfect recall. In such a way that I cannot do because I do not have perfect recall.
So I'd just turn to the guys and be like, that checks out. That's the first time we met. Down to the detail, down to the letter. That's everything.
Why did you follow a little girl into a bar?
It's a whole thing. I was the mayor at the time, and then you get that feeling someone's watching you. I was being
It's probably
followed.
everyone, because you're following a little girl into a bar.
Eos is resuming her chicken wings.
Look, I knew I was being watched, and then once they knew that I was watching them, the chase ensued. Then it ended up in the bar. Then there was a big reveal. That's the gist of it. That's how I ended up at the Arcanum. That and some gold.
Chance leans in. He's just like, is this the highest priority of this moment?
I think we've established who you are, so I think we can make the handover.
Yes, so it would be good if we could please move this along.
Hatsu, I believe you have it, do you not?
Sorry, I was on mute. I was thinking, not talking. I'm sorry. He grabs into the bag and hands over the elixir.
No worries.
Should I send or
You can just
do
remove
you just
it.
drop it?
Yeah, you just remove it. It's
Yeah.
Good. I expect this wasn't much trouble.
I mean, it
Right,
wasn't no trouble if that's what you're thinking.
Yeah. I'm sure you got a lot of experience and life lessons and all these invaluable things.
I'm gonna lean in really close and, as best I can, turn into the ooze creature, so he sees what we saw.
Right.
And then I change back to myself.
So
And then I'm going to change
Badger-
into one of the werewolves and go, "Yeah, I could do this all day, but you get the idea. It wasn't straightforward."
So the ooze creature was a badger, and the badger turned into that creature. But Slate can turn into other creatures.
Right.
Can
Listen.
I gauge his reaction to seeing the creature? And what I'm looking for is not the, oh, that looks grotesque, or oh, wow. What I'm looking for is, do I get the impression that he has seen it before, that he knew what it was when he saw it? Because
insight
I
check.
have an interest, because he is what I am, and I've been told that I'm unnatural and made, and now this thing is attached to me, etc. So for me, there's another layer to this reveal than just a theatrical.
I would have said that I would have also been looking for something similar, because
You can both make the
that's
insight
my
check.
whole thing is
Yeah.
I want to know what people's feelings are, such.
Oof. 8. It was almost an 18, became a 5.
13.
There's not especially a look of surprise, though not necessarily a look of recognition either.
Do you know her? The one you turned into?
Aren't you a master of disguise? And fitting in? Why would I assume a form? What is the best reason to take the form of another person? What risks come with that?
Well, I just wondered if it was someone you'd happened to pass in the street, or someone that you knew previously from here.
I take a look at this from a tactical persuasion. What is the only safe way to take the image of another person?
Be face to face with them, I guess.
And what are the risks of taking the face of another person?
You need to make sure you're not in the same place at the same time.
And how could I confidently do that?
Make sure you know where she is.
Or make sure I know where she isn't. She has gone missing.
Since when?
I got here this morning. She has been missing possibly 2 days. We have met before. I know Ola quite well. I was her recruitment officer back in the day. She declined.
I'm sure Remington has caught you up with what we've been doing and what we've faced. She was the one that was helping us with, well, helping us. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but helping these with this creature. It's no coincidence if she's gone missing.
Did you bring support?
I mean, Dash is outside, but I'd hardly call him support.
We did.
Yeah, we have support there around the outskirts investigating.
I'm sure you know by now, Slate, but our powers do not deceive these creatures. They sense or smell something in us that makes it impossible to hide. But that can also be used as an advantage. Be smart in your next leg of this journey.
You mean advantages in bait?
Advantage as in advantage. The mission is now wider than we anticipated, and we require all hands on deck for this. Any information you have on where she might be is important. Any information you have on where this creature might be is important. And when that time comes, how we dispatch of this threat is important. We will be presented with an option. When we have to make that choice, this has become more than, let's call it a class exercise. This is a very dangerous situation. Lives are on the line. And if you choose to go back to the school and avoid all of this, you would not be held accountable for that. You are young, inexperienced in these situations, and in the world of your abilities, you're in your infancy.
Mr. Artifice Sensei, with all due to respect, I think this team is more than ready.
When he says we, do I get the feeling he means the we that he's expecting us to think, which is we as in the school, as in your peers, your not masters, but you know what I mean, your support? Or does it feel like there's a more personal tinge to this of we?
I would say make an insight check, and I'll do my best to answer that.
I don't know if I explained that right, but so that'd be a 16.
This is important to him. There's something like, you have dealt with groups who are dispatching information, giving jobs, and doing various things. You've even dealt with missing persons before. That's not unusual in Verdoir. It's pretty much second nature there. People go missing all the time.
And a lot of them.
Yeah. But this isn't something that he's giving to you as a job. This is something where he understands the risk. He wants you to understand the risk. And this is important to him, not just the school. This isn't a task he has been accredited with. This is a very important thing to him.
Is it the aspect of what we're investigating that has got you so animated? Or does this all mean a little bit more?
He glances towards you and then back towards the center of the table. I need your help. But if you are unwilling to perform or do this, I would understand. And I would ask that you reach out to Remington and ask him to send me help. There's a certain point we will reach where that might be mandatory anyway. We will have choices. Involving the crisis response unit would be the responsible one. Defeating this creature would be the personal one. I will not make a foolish decision by myself. Your actions here not only count towards the school and your grade and these paltry things, but they are personal to me. And I will do my best to ensure that I repay each of you individually for whatever risk this is.
As far as risk goes and the job as such, I have no issues with partaking and helping. I just want to know the motivations so that I know it's not folly and I know that its intentions are true.
In a time when I was weaker than I am today, she helped me. And it appears that Karma has decided that this is my time to help her. And I shall. This is more than just owing. I respect who she is and the things that she does for this place, and I am certain that without her, this place will fall apart. I took her form to bring calm to this place. A lot of people rely on her. This is why she declined to take any invitation from us.
That's good enough for me.
I'm going to stand beside Sean's facing everybody else, which is my way of showing the decision that I'm making.
Clear
and I'm going to
alignment.
say, look, yeah, we came out here to make a difference. We came out here to make our mark. And we came out here to leave everything better off than we left it. What's there to talk about?
While the boys are talking and Adriana as well, Eos was finishing her chicken wings. She pushes the bowls to her right and she takes out the bones. And on a table, while the discussion's been happening, she's been drawing out what looks like a weird arrangement of bones in a circle, and then other bones around the circle at various distances.
Damn, she took them away. That's a lot of chicken wing.
With the most deadpan attitude, she's looking at the bones, and she... The creature uses fire. The creature, if it uses fire and engulfs as fire, is weak to water, cold, and the lightning.
This man has played Pokemon. Sorry, go ahead.
Melee weapons, as we know, are no good. Being up close will be certain death. We need more cold, water, and lightning. And a healer. Because Slate and Dash nearly died.
If you intend to follow me down this path, firstly, this is not the mission you tell everybody. This is the mission you keep secret until you know what is happening. Do not involve more people than need to be. But I've taken this on board. And we, of course, can ask Remington what he wishes to do. Causing panic would not help anybody. Secondly, I need to understand, I need to know that you understand the true risks that you are under. This is not a training exercise. This is not the time for tomfoolery. This is life or death. And you are following me. I am in charge, as I am responsible for you. You will obey your orders. Are we clear?
He was putting the bones back in.
Aye.
You're clear in as much as what you said was understood. However, I think I speak from all of us when I say we don't take orders because there's no leader. If we're here as a team. If you're part of that team for this, then that's fantastic.
You know where the wolves have gone. I do not. It is clear that I need you. And I know I can tell you 1,000 times over to go back to the school and give me the information that I need to complete this mission. But I am not foolish enough to think for a second that that would work. I have a feeling that you will all investigate this with or without me, and I think you're safer under my guidance and tutelage, leaning on my expertise. But this is not the time to march to the beat of your own drum. Come with me, support me, learn, be supported, and I will teach you how to unlock your abilities farther than you knew you could.
Let's talk about that expertise and being supported. When we spoke to Remington, he said he was going to do some research into the creature. That's been some time ago. Now you're here, knowing that it's here. So what do you know that we don't? Because now's the time to share that.
Make an insight check. He recognizes that you have asked the question, and whilst he doesn't acknowledge it, you understand that you asked the right question. He has a clear response that he knows something, but his refusal to acknowledge that means that it's something that he doesn't want to say or tell, which means that there is something that he is not saying and not telling. Omerta, sin of omission. He leans forward. I will answer your questions, but not here, and not now. How far away are the wolves? When did they leave?
We're due to meet them tomorrow on the outskirts, and I'll show them the map to say, this is where they went, this is where we are, this is where we're going to meet them, this is the conversation we had.
You have given us a lot of insight and information into what this creature is capable of. This is the first time we learned of it, but it is not the first time that our channels have learned of this creature. When we reached out for assistance, we had heard multiple stories, but what confuses us is not what the creature is, but where it comes from. Because the stories don't just reach from Vulcanus. This creature has been seen in Desolata as well. Sometimes by the people of Bricksunder. Sometimes by wanderers in the hills. But not recently.
I don't think this is the only creature that has been produced.
Why do you assume production is involved?
Because usually when things just suddenly appear, it's because they're new. The fact that there was this new fire-based creature, the fact that there was this new ooze creature, which, strangely enough, had both used a host body. That doesn't strike me as natural. That strikes me as something being produced. And the fact that you say that this thing has been seen all over these different places only makes me think that more. These
Presence
things have
of
been
research
made.
station
Curious.
doesn't help either.
That would be my question. Is there more Decker facilities near the sightings of this creature?
I can assure you that Deca has nothing to do with this.
But just because Decker doesn't mean his facilities aren't.
What is with the CRU?
Not my favorite people. But a necessity. Poorly aimed. But a necessity nonetheless.
We already know one particular doctor who likes to fuck around with biomechanics, who has been known to be around these facilities. I find it no surprise that there's a research center mere miles away.
Dagthorpe was founded to become a research station many, many years ago. It would not be possible for either of the parties you're talking about to be involved. Either way, he may not be my favorite person, but we can be thankful for him. He reaches into his jacket and he pulls out this, what looks like 2 clamps welded together. And as he throws it on the table, they kind of open and then close, forming a collar. This might just save our lives.
Well, for the creature.
For the creature.
You don't see the irony in that, no?
If it saves all of us and this town and any other town that could be hurt.
Why would you trap it rather than be rid of it?
If I thought we could kill it, we would. This
Eos
is just a
doesn't like the vibe of this
precaution.
guy.
This is not a necessity, dead or alive. But if it comes down to this, and I can save your lives by equipping this to this creature, I will do that. But I will not return it, as we promised. I will bring it to Remington and let him decide. He is my guiding arrow, not any of these Omegas.
Any of the gang who's keeping like eye on postures and such, when she hears Remington taking care of it, Eos's posture relaxes. She was getting spoopy vibes out earlier.
There's only one that I answer to, and it is not... Well... Remington is the only one I answer to.
When I said about the irony, I didn't mean of imprisoning this creature, because I truly believe that is possibly the only thing for it. I meant the irony that you say that none of this is to be done by Decker's facilities, yet he just happens to have the things to be able to control them.
You might be hunting the wrong witch. Let's deal with one monster at a time. He takes the form of Orla again.
Is it a safe assumption that I've seen these types of collars before?
You have definitely seen these types of collars before. Although I will say that this looks like a more significantly more advanced version. But you definitely had something similar on your wrists as well.
I'm gonna like pick it up like someone using a pen to pick up a scorpion type of thing. You know what I mean? On the dagger, just kind of like I'm looking at it.
As far as possible, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this like the same handcuffs that Patsu and Boreal was in when they went into when they had the case?
Possibly similar, but this is again a far more technologically advanced thing than probably any of you have ever seen.
Okay. By the way, must have been a while since you last saw her. She doesn't walk with quite so much swagger anymore. Seems to walk a bit more jaded.
There's a scowl to her face at this moment, but also a subtle change in posture.
Just to keep things accurate, that's all.
Last chance. You sure about this?
Well, I don't want to talk for everyone, but I would say we meet in the morning. Shop before sunrise.
Meet up with
Ignoring
our
the
friends.
question.
Yes, Slate?
Ignoring the question and still having the thing on the dagger, the kind of neck clamp, I'm going to gesture it towards particularly Amadriana or Hatsu and say, whoever's going to put this on has got to be fast or be able to cover a lot of ground, sort of gesturing towards your pack or, the two of you, and sort of say, so one of you should probably take this.
I'll do it.
I have an idea for a maneuver, Adriana. We might have to talk about tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I haven't seen the explosion go in every direction, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You're quite fast and agile, and I'm quite precise.
Yes, I think I get what you're saying. Yes, we'll talk about
Hatsu
that.
would take the clams and put them in the Remy bag.
Before he does that, she'll grab his hand and the clamp and look at Artifice and say, is putting that in there going to cause any reaction?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And she'll let go of Hatsu's hand.
And he puts it in the bag.
Do you need a room with us for the evening, or are you settled?
I don't sleep. I will explore the town, learn what I can, and we will leave at sunrise. You have this evening. Make the decision if you wish to join me or not. Like I said, it won't impact you either way. I won't punish you for not joining me. I would understand. But I could really use your help.
It is my felt duty to report, Mr. Remington, that we are up to go with you, if you're fine with that.
You may speak to him. It would be wise to. Let him know that we have contacted each other, and that I also have the elixir. If that's all.
Well, I guess we're coming with you. Or I suppose as we know the way, I guess you're coming with us.
Well, may I do a suggestion before we separate. You talked about priorities earlier when we met and what I'll do to respect, but if you think the threat is that high and you asked us about, tell us that it's a do or die thing, Remington gave me something to move things quick. You think it might be a good idea to finish the first mission before we start the second?
I'm leaving tomorrow either way. If you wish to go back, if you wish to turn around, if you wish to do anything else, you may. I don't have time to wait.
I'm thinking about just sending the elixir to the college.
It will do nothing for us if it's here or there.
But what if we die and it gets destroyed? Oh, you mean he can get another one at any time? Is that what you're saying?
He can get another one at any time, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so it was a test. Okay, I understand.
Clearly you passed. Find solace in that?
Well, it's not home yet.
It's not really my place to say, but only a handful of people have been tested as a group. And those people still, for the most part, are still a group. He finds strength, and he chisels away at it like an artist carving marble. If he sees something in you, there's a reason for it. I'm not even sure what he sees. I'm not even sure if he knows what he sees. But there's a reason he chose you.
I can answer you that question. It's endless potential.
Well, to accompany your endless potential. He puts down a few white vials. One for each of you. One for Dash. Which someone can give to him. If you're joining me, you will want to drink this. Unlock your true potential. Show me that Remington wasn't wrong.
Eos pokes it with a chicken wing.
The vial just sort of falls over, little glass vial.
She picks back up.
Don't worry. It's kind of a steroid. My father used to give me these when I was successful on a mission.
I swore my mom no drugs or alcohol.
This is neither drugs nor alcohol. It's a contingency.
Click, 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 click.
But you do have to
Some
be over
might
18 to
call
drink
it.
it. Terms and conditions apply. Always read the label.
Sucks for you, I'm rating. Click, click, click.
Sucks for you.
Some might call it a failsafe.
I need you all on your best game if you are to join me on this next adventure.
Because of the way he's not goading us, but it's almost like he's daring us to do this for him. Like, we're obviously getting the impression then that, like, he needs us more than we need him, kind of thing.
And Madriana would know this. The best way to get somebody to do something, even if you don't fully want to explain what it is that you have to do, is usually to encompass the truth and then cover it with something to mask whatever else they need to mask. There are things he doesn't want to talk about. There are things that he's very willing to talk about. There are connections here that make sense, and there are connections here that I can already tell that the party is starting to figure out and see and try and wonder about and question and ask. And all of that is up front from him. The things that he doesn't want to say are being masked very well because he is the ultimate spy. He takes on forms, he takes on visages, he can move in and out of places. He knows how to manipulate people into doing what he wants. If he's directly telling you, it's because he's ignoring all of his training, all of his work, all of his instincts to just make you do it, and he's asking you to do it. He doesn't want to trick you into this, but there are certain things that he doesn't want to say. If he did, if he really wanted to manipulate you guys into like that kind of aspect of it, he would just pretend to tell you something, or he would just lie, or he would just do whatever. He's ignoring every instinct and biting back on that instinct to try and make you guys do anything because he wants it to be free will. That's important to him in this situation.
What flavor is the liquid that Eos just drank?
Blue raspberry.
Would be nice. Is it turmeric? It's definitely turmeric.
I'll tell you in a second because I've forgotten the name of the berry.
It's just pure cinnamon.
Yeah.
Food. Frostberry. With a hint of moonberry. Moonberry located
But
mostly
I
in the Crescent Pearl.
I still want to flourish it. I would say when Hatsu is chugging it, he would taste like the berries. But then, in a true moment of Zen, he would see leaves in the jungle, all greenery, and then there is an overwhelming feeling of warmth, and he envisions the sun that is touching his skin, and he has like a little bit of honey taste in his mouth.
So Hatsu just took an acid trip.
Gang would see Eos's eyes go from their bright, beautiful purple down to this black. She shivers and her shoulder aches. She grabs it and a big sigh. You just hear her crack in her back, and she's sitting upright.
As a werewolf. Got it.
No.
Wait, I wanted that.
Brother, you and me.
Well, as we're obviously going to have a busy day tomorrow, there's some things I need to hopefully pick up this evening before we go. I shall see you back here in a while. And she stands up and heads out the door. And she's heading to the blacksmith's to hopefully catch him. She knows that most blacksmiths tend to kind of work late anyway, but she's going to hopefully catch hold of one.
Just confirming everyone drank their elixir?
I'm watching everybody else do it, and it's one of these will I, won't I, will I, won't I, and much like a shot that you don't want but then feel peer pressured into. It's like, fuck it, we're drinking a beer anyway, so do the vial and then a chaser with the beer and then put them both back on the table. And then I'm going to basically do that immediately after, as Amadriana is leaving, and leave behind her. So it's up to her to say to me, look, no, I'll do it on my own, or yeah, come on, because I'd like finishing the drinks. Like, yeah, hold on, and just running out the door with you type of thing.
She got no problem with company. And also with that, then as she stands up and goes to walk out, she'd just stop, like kind of next to Artifice, and just not even saying anything, just grabs a bottle, pop,
Just through the side of the
down.
mask. And...
Yeah. Well, that's why she's got, like, she stood to the side of him so that he wouldn't see, because that part stays. It's just this part that changes. So she'd drink it and then put the bottle down. Come on in, Slate.
Yeah. We'll say that one was brought in some way to Dash as well.
Well, we're heading out the door. If he's out with the cart and putting everything away and staying with the others, we can just hand it on the way out.
Yeah. And he's like, what is it? And then it's just poured down his neck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, do that karate chop on his neck, so he's like, and then you just jam it in, shake his head a bit until it goes down.
Like trying to force feed a dog or something.
Ever try getting cat medicine?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I have. I do it quite regularly, and I have secrets and tricks. Join our Discord to find out.
Everywhere.
Yeah, but you head towards the blacksmith, Madriana.
Yeah.
You do hear the familiar ting, ting, ting. You know the blacksmith is there, and as you place your hand on the door, you just suddenly stop. Slate, as you help Dash lifting up a crate, you suddenly stop. Eos, you drop to a knee. Hatsu, not that anyone could tell, but you're using all of your strength not to double over and hold your stomach. Dash looks around, he's like, guy, and then it just happens to him too. Dare I ask the party what they think that elixir was?
Level up potion.
Moonberry.
Poison.
blackberry.
Welcome to level 4.
Yes.
I didn't
was
want
a
to
leveling
game.
poison.
I did want to drink his one before I gave it to him.
Wouldn't have worked
Mine,
twice. It's okay. I am aware of this party's willingness to break everything. Welcome
One
to level
person
4.
like level 8 and everyone else at level 3 still.
Oh, it has to. We should have split Dash's vial. We would have got an extra half level each.
Yeah.
You're all
Next
level
time,
4.
buddy. Next time.
Alongside Ayami and Lissa have also leveled up. By level up, I mean their CR rating changes because they are, of course, NPCs. And I will adjust them accordingly just to make sure that they are a little helpful.
Thank you.
What
So
happens
even
next?
with the cramps, she's still gonna like suck it up and head to the blacksmith.
You pull down on the door handle and you open the blacksmith, and that's where we'll pick up next week. If you want to talk to me this week a little bit about what you want, I can make sure that that's prepared for you just in case, because obviously not everything is done. As much as you can, anyway. You don't have to spoil anything for me. And this week,
Oh no, I'll give you what I need because it's very particular.
this week we're making a big transition in behind the scenes stuff. So the way our tech runs to make it run smoother, not necessarily from the stream quality, but I will be fixing that as well. But from the Foundry side of things, we're making big changes. So I will make sure that everything is ready for you for next week, that's done. Hopefully it should be seamless, but please bear with us for the next few weeks because whenever we try and do these things seamlessly, they are so seamful. Is that a word? I don't know. We made it a word.
These
That's
are
a thing.
words.
Seeming.
It's seeming, yeah. But for the moment, we'll call it there. Hopefully we have Kian back next week. Hopefully he's feeling a lot bit better. A lot bit better? Words. Me can do English.
Many bits better?
Many bits better. That's the one. He hopefully will be back with us next week, or at least soon. We hope you're feeling better, buddy. I know he was in chat there for a little bit, so hopefully he's doing okay.
He was crying on the microphone, guys. It was so sad.
Yeah, he's.
You know what would
sobbing,
make him
weeping.
feel better? 23 more followers so he can eat down a Carolina Reaper. That would make him feel better.
I think that in the post show we need to discuss the fact that he's trying to get out of that, so we need to fix that.
Faking an injury out there.
But we need to, like the way you jammed the leveling potion down his throat, we need to take the Carolina Reaper and just attack our social media manager. But for now, we shall wrap up this session. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're listening on the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, we love you. We appreciate you. Those on Twitch that are here, thank you so much for being here, for the bits and gifted subs and everything. Thank you so much. I just saw that Madela Jane just gifted out a community sub. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys always support us, and we love you so much. We'll be back next week, hopefully with a fuller party. And we will continue from this point where we kind of are in a pseudo arc, like a branching arc of the other arc, which is kind of cool. We do have a post show. So for those watching on Twitch or those who would be interested, it will be up on YouTube next week. I don't know why I said that part, because you will be seeing this on YouTube next week, which means that you'll know that the post show is already up. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us.
Podcast, though. Screw you guys.
The podcast listeners, for some reason, we're annoyed at you. Maybe ever since I left the post show, every time you guys hosted it, you're like ragging on the podcast listeners. We'll be jumping over to the post show now. So those of you on Twitch, we will see you shortly. But those of you on the podcast and YouTube, thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.